You think when they went into the Sistine Chapel today, they had their own walk-up music? As they roll through the door. Thunderstruck!
Pantera, walk.
That's right. Here comes Johnny Thunder, the new pope. Johnny Thunder. So they're in, guys. They've locked him in right now. It is official. They're pope and stuff.
And now there's 2 seagulls up there by the chimney.
Oh, no. What's that mean? Somebody look.
I don't know.
Somebody's got to be something. Well, let me tell you. There's, first of all, as Chris likes to put it, birds aren't real. So we know automatically that these things are spies.
The robots.
Probably for the Mossad.
Yeah.
And apparently there's a third choice in terms of smoke now.
Yeah, there's going to be
If it comes out orange, that means Trump's the new pope.
That's right. That's fantastic.
Wait a minute. I see one wearing a necklace that says SBC.
Oh,
Southern Baptist Convention.
Whoa.
Holy guacamole. Here we go. Hey, popes, what's going on? Everybody put your hands together for the pope. So you know what happens if you become pope? You go into the room of tears.
Doesn't sound very fun.
No, it doesn't. And that's where I'm being told definitely by Saturday because they want him to give the big, there's a big thing on Sunday that they want him to do. So a big mass or something.
So they've got to get it done by Saturday.
I'm like, guys, we got stuff going on. I got tickets to D.C.
I'm scheduled to pick up my groceries by 11.
That's right. There is this is it. So already, like the Pope has started. So what's his name? Piolino, whatever, the guy that was kind of in the Piolino. That's the, if you don't know who that is, that was a Latin or Mexican DJ that was massive. They got in a lot of trouble in Southern California. That is not who was running to be Pope. But the father that was the guy, the cardinal everybody thought was going to be it, apparently his secretary said some horrible things about Pope Francis. And so now there's already drama. It's like high school. It's like high school. And at least some people came out and said, look, we want one that's not too old, but we don't want a long papacy. Just in case. So 2 to 3 days. That's what everybody keeps saying. 2 to 3 days, 2 to 3 days.
I would say by or on.
2 to 3 days.
On Friday, yeah, I'm certainly hearing like 2 to 3 days from most people, certainly not past Saturday. I think there's a real sense from among the cardinals I've been hearing that they want to have a new pope to do the Sunday Angelus, which is the pope's traditional Sunday midday appearance.
So this will be a big deal. We could get a pope. Not today. I don't think today. You got to really get in there, right? Get a feel for stuff. I'd be surprised if it was today. But tomorrow, by the third one, maybe when we're on the air, we could be making an announcement that it's orange. How funny would that be? I knew it.
I would love it if they just did that as a troll.
Or on accident. Because last time they got the stuff mixed up. That's why they have 2 of those things now. Because they got it mixed up and it came out gray. And everybody's like, what is gray? And it's like, well, we offered it to a guy and he said, eh. Give me a minute. Let me think
Or
about
they
it.
offered it to a guy and he's like, oh, let me think about it a little while.
You know what's interesting? And maybe somebody can answer this out there. If not, I'm sure I can find an answer. I'm sure there have been people that really were reluctant to take the gig. Like they ended up really starting to get some momentum and thinking, there's no way I'm going to be the gig, get this. And then it started to really pick up. And all of a sudden you get that. And that is a heavy, heavy thing to have.
Ray Fiennes didn't want it.
He didn't. And I get it. Right? And especially now, one of the things they said that the reason that the other guy is kind of in the lead, the guy that was his second in charge, is because he's got good business acumen. And right now, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, the Catholic Church has had a few issues. And some of those things are financial. So there's a worry there about that. So this will be interesting to see. A lot of stuff to get to today. And we are going to talk about what is going on with ICE here in Nashville.
ICE and Tennessee troopers are making their presence known throughout Nashville. ICE telling Fox 17 News they are focused on removing criminals for public safety. Monday night marks the second time they use traffic stops to crack down on undocumented immigrants.
Now, we've got a couple interviews coming up today. Is this correct, Bell, who is the leader of this?
This is correct.
At 1 o'clock, who do we have?
Steve Mehling from WSMV, who's been doing a story on the ICE arrests.
Yes, and at 2.
Representative Afton Bane.
She's going to
specifically. We did that specifically for Ray so that he could enjoy the show more than normal.
Yes, and we're going to bring her on because she wants to talk about, okay, here's the real story. Because everybody makes up their mind. We want to know what's going on. We've heard all the stuff from the left. We hear all the stuff from the right. I want to know what's going on. Get her perspective. That's what we do here. We're not here screaming, yell at each other. That doesn't solve problems. Let's find out what's going on. Because I think it's a fair thing to do. We do stuff where we have conversations with folks, which is not what a lot of people in my industry likes. Although we'll say, did you guys see the Piers Morgan Kanye interview? It was so bizarre. It was so weird. Kanye just got up in the middle of the interview and walked away.
That's pretty Kanye.
Yeah.
He's a nut.
Yeah. And it was all about the size of his Twitter following. Because Piers got it wrong.
Oh.
It was 33, not 32 million.
Oh.
Then he started talking about all these great artists that are alive, like John Lennon and Michael Jackson. And even Piers was at the point where it's like, dude, I know you're wacky, but this is extra worldly for you. And then he got up and he left, and there was just a guy sitting there in a suit and tie who looked like he was like an usher, like an assistant manager at a movie.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what we have.
Oh, and don't forget we got Immigrant tickets to give away.
Yes! You guys know who Amy Grant is? She's pretty sweet.
Baby.
Baby. How many Dove Awards did she win?
A lot.
Yeah. Of course, there was only like 8 artists back then, so everybody got a Dove Award. They're like participation trophies. That's not very nice. More from what's going on here in Nashville.
Witnesses tell us the stops are happening in the Antioch area. An undocumented immigrant who didn't want to be identified tells me his friend ended up arrested near Murfreesboro Road.
We had to go in the morning to bail my friend out, but honestly, it's a miracle because they aren't releasing anyone.
He tells us he had to pay nearly $500 for bail, claiming his friend was only driving when he got arrested. Did they tell you why he was arrested?
No, they only arrested him.
ICE is not confirming the exact charges for some of those detained.
Now, as Ken has been reminding everybody at this moment in time, carry your papers. It sounds horrible in the sense that, we don't want to make it seem like this is some lunatic. But if you are in a position where you're here legally, but you need a green card, carry your papers. If you're here and you're on asylum and you're waiting to be tried, have your case adjudicated, carry your papers. And if you're not here legally, you know what could happen. I mean, this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. And if you ask somebody who's here illegally, you know what they'll say? Yeah, I recognize that. So just it sounds like, oh, they're using fear. No, these are people that in some cases are waiting to be heard when it comes to their asylum claims. Some people are probably here legally. Some may even be born here. And if here's the thing. If they were doing a stop for DUI, we wouldn't care if they were doing this. But it was ICE is involved, Trump is involved. If Biden was doing this, which we know he wouldn't, very little would be heard press-wise. But because it's Trump and because of all of the things and because of the evil, this is what you get.
The agency says since Saturday, there were 84 arrests, including a Venezuelan Tren de Aragua gang member and a convicted child molester from Mexico who's been deported several times. Undocumented immigrant Anna, who doesn't want to show her face, tells me she was detained and released over the weekend. She tells me not everyone detained is a criminal.
I feel overwhelmed over every day because I have to take my child to school. I'm afraid to even be out on the street.
Anna says the fear is causing her and others to consider self-deporting.
When I know that if I self-deport, then I know exactly where I'm going with my child.
A Trump policy proposal offers $1,000 in free flights for those who choose to self-deport, but it hasn't taken effect here locally.
So there we go. And again, we're going to have Aftyn on. and somebody said, you throw softballs. No, we have conversations. Yelling at people doesn't get anything done. I know a lot of people enjoy that. I find that, I guess it's the entertainment side of things is what people want and when it comes to stuff like that. You know? I mean, Bell and I could yell at each other all day. It doesn't do anything. He's still going to be Bell.
No, I'm not going to yell at you. It doesn't solve any problems.
No, and that's just it. I mean, I like solutions. I want to hear what people have to say. It's an interesting thing that we have that, but that's part of like the world that we live in now. Like I was saying earlier, the craziness that you apparently have to do to cut through the noise it's nuts. And I was talking to Chris about it, that, you know, yesterday we're talking about that Shiloh chick who said the horrible thing to a child and how she is getting, you know, money. And then the child has raised some money. And then you've got what's going on in Texas with you know, Carmelo Anthony, and somehow that's going to be fine. And then you've got these people over here saying insane things. And the guy that Dave Portnoy said, I'm going to destroy you, and they decided, no, this could be a teaching moment. I don't want to cancel somebody. He comes out and says, I'm a victim too. Please give me money because I'm a victim. And you're just like, this is all it is. And then they all say the most obscene. I was sitting there today going, I should just say crazy stuff and see what you can get away with. Is that what it is? Is that what everybody wants? I can't do that, by the way. Oh, my Lord. Sistine Chapel. Pope Watch is on. Pope Watch 2025. We got to get one of those made up. We got to get the big voice guy to do that. Cutler. Pope Watch. Coming up, a lot of stuff to get to. But with all this going on, I just want to remind everybody, there are two nuclear powers that are staring at each other. First time ever. And one of them has a, we will only strike if somebody attacks us nuclear kind of code. The other one, not so much. We're going to discuss that. Bunch of other stuff to get to right here on the Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7. You know, with all the things going on in the world, the uncertainty, you got the BRICS conference coming up, you know, in Rio soon. You've got all the stuff that's happening, global trade, and, you know, what's happening in India and Pakistan right now. Maybe it's time you think to yourself, how do I diversify? How do I protect myself in the event that things go sideways? And I'll tell you how you do that. It is simple and easy. It's with gold. And gold can help you in so many ways. Precious metals are amazing, and Birch is my gold company. Been with them for a long time. I've been buying my gold from them, and it's just a great way to diversify and to protect what you've worked so hard for. Text the word Benson now to 989898 today to get yourself an info kit. They're going to send it out to you, let you take a look what it is that they do, and learn how you could take, say, your savings account, move it over into a metals-backed IRA. It is awesome what they are doing. And in this time of uncertainty, it's always nice to have a little backup. And that's what precious metals and gold provides. And Birch can do it for you. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Text the word Benson now to 989898 today for Birch Gold.
All right, drivers got a crash westbound East Loop right there before Spring Street, Ellington Parkway. And then in Franklin, still got that road work blocking the left lane. 840 eastbound is 65. A growing number of Tennessee counties have signed up to help federal illegal immigration enforcement. Governor Lee has announced a way he says will pay for infrastructure needs, avoiding tax increases, and Weight Watchers is trimming up, so to speak. Details at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Weight Watchers, what?
Yeah, trim it up.
Okay, let's go over this again. I can do what? You can count points all day. Okay. What's my other thing? You can get a shot.
Just go get a shot.
Okay, so my job is I can count points all day, and I could maybe do workouts and do all these kind of things. And then what was the second one again? You could just go get a shot.
Just go get a shot.
Okay.
Or I can just have ice cream as an entree for every meal.
Yeah, that's a good one too. If you ate, here's the thing though, calories in, calories out. If you ate a gallon of ice cream, it was 2,000 calories, and you worked out, for an hour a day, you're still going to be in a calorie deficit.
I might try that.
It's about calories in, calories out. That's it. By the way, I'm going to do a whip around the room because Ray asked us a question here because he loves it. Are we only nice to Aftyn because she's a woman and she's pretty?
No. I'm
and
nice.
I treat her different.
And those things are undeniable. She is an attractive woman, but that's not the reason we have her on. We have her on because she's at least willing to have the conversation and doesn't go off the deep end and turn it into an argument.
Yeah. Scott Sabicki, he was here. Was I nice to him?
Yep.
Okay. What about Jason Whitlock?
Yep.
Okay. Is it because they were pretty? Because no offense, no. And I think Jason will tell you that right now. Probably not the handsome thing.
And that's why Aftyn is willing to come on and have the conversation because it is a conversation and not an argument.
Yeah, and that you know what? And I think we need more of that. And I get in a time where, like even yesterday, watching Kristi Noem get grilled by all these people, the lunacy of even when you watch now these hearings, those hearings are for the people asking the questions where they can get you into a gotcha situation, and they can go out then and put it all over their social media and try to raise money. It's the world that we live in now is what kind of gotcha moment can I get somebody in? What kind of thing can I say where it's exciting and it's fun and it's it's what's after that matters. And does anything get done? And I want to get to the bottom of stories. I know a lot of people don't. Okay, listeners, do you think I'm nice to Aftyn because she's pretty, or have I been nice to everybody? Do you want me to be mean to her? Would that make everybody feel good? so insane. Let's see here.
You sound like Peter Griffin after he hit himself in the shin.
That's kind of what it's like. That's kind of what it's like. Is it Real ID Day?
It's Real ID Day.
So,
but if you don't have your real ID, you can still fly.
And in less than 1 month, it'll be D-Day.
That's right. So Real ID, it's VE Day too, wasn't it? VE Day today?
I think it was already VE Day.
Yeah, it's Real ID Day. So if you're going to the airport, even if you've got your real ID, although I think I found out it was 72% of Americans have a real ID.
That's a lot more than I would have expected.
Do you have one? I don't.
No, I haven't gotten mine yet.
What
I've
about
got all
you,
my
Ken?
paperwork together, but I haven't done it.
I do not have one.
Okay, so far we're over 3.
Yeah.
I don't know who these 72% of Americans are.
Well, we're just going to end up having to fly private is all.
Well, that's a good. You know what's interesting? I was my mom, who didn't go in, who didn't bring anything. They renewed her license with a real ID.
All right.
And I was like,
that's California, though.
Yeah, but then I was talking, other people I know. They're like, no, I had to go in. I was like, my mom of all people, that they know she's.
It's amazing they would make it that easy since they think well, I guess that's the point. Is it's so difficult for people to get licenses, especially minorities. They're just going to give them out like they're candy.
Yeah. Well, Well, in California, maybe.
Yeah.
So California, they don't really care. A cop says that we need to get the law right. You don't have to carry papers. If you have a green card, then you can get an official Tennessee ID, and you don't have to carry papers or their visa. What's a visa even look like?
Not a clue.
I don't either. Because when I went to England, it was on my passport, the thing that I had to get when I went over there.
Right.
By the way, the grilling, let me tell you how hard it was to immigrate to Britain. It was the most, in fact, when we come back, I'll tell you the story of how hard it was for me to go over there.
Was it because you were working, though?
Yes.
That's what it was?
Yes. Yeah. And it was partially because it was the time I was doing it in, late 80s and what I was doing, with all the drug dealing and whatnot. No, we'll talk about that. A bunch of other stuff to get to as well, including what's happening in Pakistan and India, because I think it is important. And this may be screw what's going on in Israel and Gaza, because that's a battle that's gone on for centuries. Same Ukraine, that kind of stuff. Again, all of those things are bad, but this has the potential to be way worse. And God willing, it isn't. Talk about that straight ahead. Chad Bench Show, Super Talk 997.
$12:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Speaking of India and Pakistan, right now Fox News sending out a breaking news alert. Apparently, India is pushing for de-escalation with Pakistan after the two traded strikes. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Another Tennessee county has signed on to the program that allows local agencies assist in federal immigration enforcement. The Tennessean says Sumner County Sheriff Eric Craddock says he opted to join the program to enhance the safety and security in Sumner County. Sumner County joining 5 other counties in Tennessee in the 287G program. That's including Giles, Knox, Greene, Hamilton, and Putnam counties. ICE has agreements with at least 571 agencies in 39 states as of May 5th, according to the Tennessean. Meanwhile, ICE says at least 80, whom they say undocumented people, have been detained since Saturday night's operation in South Nashville. Mayor Freddie O'Connell says it caused what he calls deep community harm. He announced a fund is being set up to help people impacted. The Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee and local immigration nonprofits starting this fund to help immigrant families affected by these detainments with transportation needs, child care, and food. Governor Lee, meanwhile, announcing a way, he says, to maintain the state's infrastructure without raising taxes. Reallocation of $80 million in recurring funds from the tire sales tax will be used along with the one-time addition of $1 billion. TDOT has a 10-year plan involving 96 projects across the state, primarily paving and bridge repairs. And in money news, Weight Watchers filing for bankruptcy says more Americans are taking weight loss drugs to slim down. The 62-year-old weight loss program's parent company, WW International, says it aims to eliminate $1 billion in debt as part of the Chapter 11 filing and will focus on expanding its fledgling telehealth business. Services to Weight Watchers customers will continue uninterrupted, according to the company. Weight Watchers has more than 3 million members worldwide. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
All right, guys. Busy Bee. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling wants you to know that TVA rebates have been extended. The mini split, 17, C or 2 or higher, $800 rebate. Get up 12 months. No payment, no interest, depending on credit and lenders. Offers may vary. See store for details. Busy Bee is relocated as rebates for your AC. They've got rebates for everything you can think of. And here's the great thing. So let's just say you got an AC tune-up, right? $50 rebate right there. So you join the Beehive Club today. And then you get your spring tune-up, that's $50. Then you get your fall tune-up, that's $50. Next thing you know, voila, you've paid for your Busy Bee Beehive Club membership. How easy that is. It's incredible. Plus, they got tons of other deals. 30% off ultraviolet home treatment, $300 off outdoor main sewer or water lines, $500 of electrical heat pump, water heater, or whole home water filtration system. And this is great too. You buy one yearly Beehive membership, get one of equal or lesser value for free. So what are you waiting for? Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating and Cooling. Call 775-7833, 775-7833, or online at busybeehvac.com. I want you guys to check this out. This is CBS News, Vatican City. Who would have thought you would have heard this?
So they sit the whole time? They don't stand up and
most of them will tell you that while that's going on, they're sitting reading their breviary. That's a book of prayers that clergy have, or praying a rosary, or doing. The one thing we know they're not doing is checking Instagram, because their devices have all been confiscated.
I believe the kids call it raw dogging it. If
I'm sorry, but that's not what I know that word to mean.
Oh, no, it's not. No, that is hilarious. So if you guys didn't know, apparently the Cardinals are all raw dogging it because they can't get on their Insta and their TikToks. Isn't it funny? Have you ever seen like people brag about that on a flight? I flew from here to London and I raw dogged it. I'm like, yeah, welcome to, I don't know, most of flight up until a few years ago. I mean, who has it? If you don't know what raw dogging is, it's you're without your electronic devices. And there's also some other things it means.
I flew from Atlanta to L.A. and back on the same day, and I raw dogged it the whole way.
Oh, my, how did you do it?
How did you do it? I've got the backbone to be able to survive it.
I flew one time, because it was so cheap. I don't know why. I stopped, I think, in every city in Canada, just about, it felt like. And there was no screens. This was back in the day. It was like 1990 or whatever. All you could do was plug in and listen to the radio. If you didn't have like a Walkman, they had like music playing on the thing. It was the same, like 8 songs. It was like, it was a Steve Winwood song. And it was Mary's Prayer.
It was headline news if you only had 6 stories.
That was it. It was like, oh, my God. It was just hilarious. Not hilarious. What's going on over in India and Pakistan, if you guys haven't heard, they're angry at each other for, I don't know, ever.
These two nuclear-armed nations exchanging fire overnight and again this morning amid fears this could spiral out of control. India firing missiles into Pakistan, striking 9 targets. Pakistan calling it an act of war, saying its military's been authorized to respond.
Now they're being told, hey, guys, let's calm it down. And the reason is because they're nuclear powers. India is, so Modi runs India, and I think it's Sharif is the guy that runs Pakistan. So in 1947, the Brits are like, we're done with you guys, right? You're splitting you up because you're not good together. And so mostly Muslims over there in Pakistan and Hindus in India. Then there's Kashmir, and both of them are always fighting over Kashmir. And a couple weeks ago, there was a horrific attack on like a resort in Kashmir. It was horrible. So it's like a resort, but think of it as like it's almost like the Swiss Alps in parts. And there's a guy who was, and this was so bizarre. So this guy who's never, by the way, ever done zip lining is filming himself. And they're like, are you ready? And they push him off. And he's like, yay! And he's just having fun. And the minute he gets 2 feet off, these guys come running out of the bush, and they're just firing and killing all these people. He can't hear it because he's so excited. Ziplining, and he goes on for like a minute and a half till he gets to the other side, and that's when he realizes the guy that's supposed to help him is running for his life. So they killed 25 people. Now, this has gone on since forever and a day with these two. They've got 170 nuclear weapons in Pakistan's side, 172 in India's side. India's, we will attack with nuclear weapons if you attack us. Pakistan doesn't have what India has, but they do have this. We reserve the right that if you decide to conventionally attack us, that we can nuke you. And their foreign minister said yesterday, yeah, if it gets too bad, we've decided we'll destroy the world. And then everybody else who has other nuclear weapons said, shut up. And this is it. I want to see where this goes, because should things go south, obviously India and us, we're pals comparatively to everywhere else. But China is friends with Pakistan. Turkey may throw in with Pakistan. Saudi Arabia may throw in with Pakistan. So you're going to find that kind of thing where strange bedfellows that are people that are pals, and in theory, NATO member, one of them, may line up against us. Now, hopefully nothing's going to happen, but there's no doubt that this is an escalation. And if you guys don't know, they've been fighting forever, just like on the other side. All the time, India and China fight across the border. They run across, they fight each other, they run back across. And
when they're not having Guardian of the Galaxy dance-offs.
Oh, yeah. If you guys have never seen the two, so there's a portion of the border where they have, you know, like you go to Britain and you get to see the changing of the guard. Well, this is where they dance against each other, essentially. And it looks like Michael Jackson in, you know, their legs are high in the air and they do all these twisted moves. It's hilarious.
And the one guard stops and does the "come at me, bro" pose.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny. Like he's throwing down. Like it's the, you know, it's like, it's almost like that dance thing we were talking about yesterday with Ray, you know, was it Ray Gun and the old Olympics? Like that kind of thing. So it's an ugly situation, but I don't think things are going to go any further. And God willing, they don't. But you never know. You never know. And we've never really had two nuclear powers. Like we had, obviously the Soviets and us were close one time, but not like this. Because I think the cooler, calmer heads prevailed. I don't know. You know, that's always been the fear of Pakistan, because Pakistan, let's not forget, as I was reminding somebody today when I did an interview, they had a guy there that brought down the towers, you know, Osama bin Laden, that they hid for a long time. They have plenty of ISIS members because, you know, Islamabad, you just go back and forth between Afghanistan and stuff. It's a scary situation. But I'm hoping that both sides will decide, hey, we're okay with that. A lot of you guys sending the raw dog thing. I did not come up with that. Okay? Right? I did not say that. The person who said that was on CBS News, and I found that bizarre. CBS News, raw dogging it.
Sure, he had a conversation with his editor after that story aired.
That's like their morning news guy too. Like, that's crazy. I'm like, did this just happen? No, it didn't. So we're going to interview Aftyn later, and several of you said, you can be strong. Yeah, I'm going to ask her some real questions. So I'm going to be a jerk about it. And everybody's like, go Murphy on her. No, that's not my jam. My jam is let's have a conversation. And I get Murphy's got his thing. He's great at it. And you can be tough, right? And I think we recognize this. I mean, don't lie to me. But you can be tough and fair and not have people throwing things. Although that is what I think people want anymore.
People want reality TV on the radio.
I've always said this about reality TV. They put you in situations where you fight because if you go to let's say you go to dinner tonight and you sit next to a couple that is just having a good time laughing and, they may even have a serious conversation. You're not paying attention. If one of them grabs somebody by the hair, they throw food around everywhere, they scream and yell and throw plates at each other, you're going to look. And that's unfortunately what we've got with our modern politics, which is a shame. Shame indeed. You should have known better. There's so much wacky stuff that I want to get to because, I love to find crazy things specifically for our good friend Ken. And I've got some great woke stuff here about somebody who got fired for being woke. Because you can't be woke, you can get fired.
I got fired for being a woke professor. Let me tell you what happened. I was a professor of communication in a business school. I designed a kick-ass course to teach my 600 students about basic self-awareness, empathy, and essential communication skills for life, basically being a good human in the business world. But there were a handful of students who were part of an alt-right student watchdog group, and they did not want to do that work. They did not want to learn about self-awareness and certainly not empathy.
So it's an alt-right that doesn't want this. Okay, so I just want you guys to get where this is going because now this is the new thing, which is woke. The right has their woke ideology now, which is trying to get everybody fired and canceled. And I know that because they try it on me all the time.
So they complained that I was too woke, that I was pushing a political agenda. They went in droves to complain to the administrators, to parents. Parents started calling, and this is their playbook. They manufacture this outrage. They launched a smear campaign against me, flooded social media with lies, got the media involved. And even though my university had plenty of evidence to refute their claims, they still caved and fired me.
Which is crazy because usually you can do just about anything you want as a professor and never worry about getting fired.
I'm a single mom raising 2 kids on my own by choice. I had my kids with IVF, so it's just me. I'm the only one who keeps a roof over our head and feeds all of us. And now I was suddenly without a job because these kids didn't want to learn about basic self-awareness and empathy.
Is that really what it was? Self-awareness, empathy? Maybe, maybe not. But there is this weird world where you have the right going after, at times, the other right, at times people they kind of agree with, and attacking them. And I just, again, it's even with the cancel culture, like with, the Dave Portnoy thing the other day, where he was the king of let's not cancel people. And then all of a sudden, it looked like he was going to. And then the next thing, he's like, no, let's teach people a lesson. It's a great opportunity to teach here. And then what ended up happening, that backfired on him. But still, I get it. I get it on a daily basis. I get it from some of you guys. The disdain that, you're not part of the tribe, so I'm going to have to go after you. It's crazy. And in college, I still find this weird, but I also think there is a certain segment now, especially in colleges, who, yesterday I was fortunate enough, and you can check it out, go to my YouTube, at Chad Benson Show. I interviewed the guy from FIRE. And now this is a guy he's one of their lead government attorneys. And FIRE is these are the people that go out and basically take on all the free speech, which is great because I love free speech. And he was talking about the fact that, colleges now are terrified over what's going on in the Trump administration. And so they're more apt now to fire quick and suspend and get rid of people over stuff that they look around and they say, oh my God, we can't have this. And they should have done some of this stuff before, but we don't want that. And I still want free speech on campus. I don't know about you guys. I don't want this to be a situation where we don't have free speech on campus, which I think which sucks because that's the place you should go. I just want it to be a little bit balanced. I think we can all agree with that, which is something that doesn't happen much. All right, coming up, I am going to tell that story. Somebody said, you didn't tell your story about going to England. I'm going to tell you guys how crazy it was going to the UK when we come up, because it was the best way I can describe it was insane. And you want to talk about raw dog in flight, which is, again, weird. We'll talk about that because this was me in the space of 24 hours on a flight for 2 flights for about 23 of those hours. It's insane. Talk about that. A bunch of other stuff straight ahead. Chad Benson Show. Super Talk 99.7. Rough Greens, ruffgreens.com. Vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, all this incredible stuff packed into an amazing supplement that you give your dog on a daily basis. Now, I want you to try a Jumpstart trial bag of Rough Greens for free. It is not going to cost you anything but shipping. It's a few bucks. And then the 90-day challenge. It's just 1 scoop a day. You don't have to change your dog's food. You put it right on top of your dog's food, and you watch what happens. It is incredible how fast your dog is going to change from maybe, especially if your dog's a little older, right? You take your dog on a walk, they're a little sore afterwards. That's going to go away. Their fur starts falling out here and there. That's going to go away. Their skin, their fur is going to be so much better. More energy. Aches and pains are going to be gone. Heart health and immunity is going to improve. It is incredible. Try a Jumpstart trial bag of Rough Greens today. ruffgreens.com/Chad. Use my code Chad. It's a $20 value. You cover the cost of shipping. They're going to get it out to you free. ruffgreens.com/Chad.
Metro Legal has just emailed audio. It says proves Nashville police did not have anything to do with the ICE operations that are ongoing, and says there will be a specially called council committee meeting this afternoon. I've got that and more coming up at 1 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Interesting. Again, we're going to have to add Afton on at 2. And coming up a little bit, we have
Steve Mehling from WSMV.
So
Channel 4.
Talk about it. He's been doing reporting on this. So we got audio out there now because this is the battle. Are we participating? Are we not participating? Is it only about this? We're going to find it. We're going to try to get to the bottom of it. Or I'll take some of your advice and we're just going to all scream and yell at each other. Be more confused. Somebody just emailed me a story we're going to do later. I don't know if you guys know the story of the panda, the trash panda that was found to have meth pipe.
I saw the picture. Did you? Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, don't give raccoons meth.
Don't give raccoons anything, especially meth.
Those trash pandas. So my story about England. So when I went to England, I went over on what they call a trial basis. And I was like an AT, what they call, when you go over there, you could be an apprentice, right? So you get this apprenticeship, YTS boy. That's so it's a youth training scheme. So I go over there and you get your little thing, your little visa and stuff, because I'm not really working yet because I'm part of an apprenticeship. So I go over there and that's fine. But then when I get picked up and I get a sign, I go to the British consulate in LA to get something. And I have to leave my passport for weeks there. And I go back and I get it. Super excited. I got like a day or two before. And I had to wait in line, and it was a nightmare. I flew to England. So here I am flying to England, super excited. I got to London. They didn't stamp my passport with the thing they needed to. I had to board a flight, fly back to Los Angeles. So I've been up for like 500 hours, walk into the British consulate, and the look on some of their faces was, oh my God. And I had to get a stamp. Just one stamp that took 2 seconds, and then I flew back. Getting into a country is hard. And when I got over there, let me tell you something. The way I was treated was crappy because I look back. This was back in the day when you could only have so many foreigners on a soccer team. And I was, in theory, taking an Englishman's job. So I didn't like that. And it was back in the day when America wasn't looked at soccer-wise for anything. So it was, other countries aren't as welcoming as I think the rest of the world thinks. Oh, we're just all just hugs and kisses. No. It's not that way. It isn't. Man, that sucked too. You want to talk about raw dogging? Imagine spending because it was a 12-hour flight and like a 13-hour flight. Because going one way, you get the
worst kind of raw dogging was whenever I was still a smoker. And I would land, at halfway points. Like, for instance, the Minneapolis airport one time that had no smoking.
Oh.
And you couldn't go outside because you may not get back in.
Oh, wow.
It was terrible.
That's awful, dude.
Terrible.
See,
I'm
kids,
glad I quit
there's
smoking.
a lot of raw dogging that goes on in this world.
Yeah.
Some of you chiming in about that professor. They're like, you had to join a class thing that she was doing, a group for $99. That's nothing new in college, by the way. When you go to college, many times you have to buy required reading, which is the professor's books and stuff like that they get money for. So none of that is anything that's new. Joining things that they get kickbacks for. I mean, it's that stuff is been around forever and a day. I want to talk more about this raw dog, and I couldn't believe he couldn't smoke in Minneapolis.
Yeah, it was rough. I'd already gone about 5 hours without a cigarette, and then I had to go more. And get this.
Did you punch anybody?
Wait, no, didn't do that, but we finally got on the plane. We sat there for 90 minutes.
Oh, goodness me.
And the pilot said, well, we've got a weight issue. Everybody's going to have to depart, or rather, we're going to have to deboard, and then we'll get you back on as soon as possible. It was another hour wait.
Oh, my God.
So 90 minutes on the tarmac, then another hour back in the airport. I was fit to be tied.
I bet. And by the way.
But my lungs were a lot cleaner.
Yeah. Back in the day, you could smoke on an airplane, which is still the weirdest thing. Do you want smoking or non-smoking? I'm like, does it matter? We're in a tube. What do you think the air goes?
Exactly.
Do you want smoking or heavy smoking?
Do you want cancer at the front or the back of the airplane? We just want to know. Coming up, we're going to talk about the ice raids. What's going on here in town? Joining us from WSMV, Steve Mehling is going to pop in on the show. Talk about that straight ahead. Chad Benson, Super Talk 99.7.
One o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. And right now, new developments in the ongoing ICE operations in Nashville. Metro Legal just emailed what it says is an agent with Federal Homeland Security requesting Metro Police patrol the offices in Nashville in case of backlash from families because of detainments.
They are doing operations throughout the weekend, and they're concerned of the families having some backlash on Sunday.
So Metro Legal says this proves Metro Police only provided extra patrol around the Nashville ICE facility and did not take part in the operation. Legal says there will be a specially called council committee meeting this afternoon. Meanwhile, ICE says they've detained at least 80 people since this weekend's operation. They say are undocumented, and there were about 150-plus traffic stops for alleged moving violations that led to those detainments. Meanwhile, Sumner County joining a list of other counties in the state that have signed up for the 287G program. That allows local agencies help federal illegal immigration enforcement efforts through jail or civil cases. 5 other counties already doing it include Giles, Knox, Greene, Hamilton, and Putnam counties in Tennessee. A jury is expected to be seated today in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial in New York. Opening arguments reportedly scheduled for Monday. ABC's chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky following the trial, telling us about the struggle on Tuesday to find jurors.
They ran into a few complications with some of the prospective jurors. There was one guy who told the judge it would be difficult for him to stop smoking marijuana on a daily basis during the trial. Another guy, the defense said, came in with an agenda. He's the dad of 2 daughters. He called the allegations of Sean Combs troubling, and so he was dismissed. And then there were people that just were not able to serve for different reasons. Either they didn't understand the language well enough, they had job problems.
Cleared for liftoff. ABC's Jim Ryan says Elon Musk's SpaceX Corporation's been given approval for a 5-fold increase in the number of rockets it can launch from South Texas.
3, 2, 1. It's a rumble that's likely to be felt across the Texas Gulf Coast a lot more now that the FAA has okayed up to 25 SpaceX launches a year. Rebecca Hinojosa of the South Texas Environmental Justice Network says
Elon Musk and his SpaceX staff have gutted the Federal Aviation Administration.
Others, though, welcome the infusion of tourism dollars that flow into the region every time a launch takes place.
And right now in Rome, the Cardinals of the Roman Catholic Church have entered the Sistine Chapel. They are now taking an oath of secrecy before being sequestered, and the conclave starting the task of electing a new pope. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
lot of stuff to get to today. And no, there's still no Pope. We will let you know. We'll break in with Pope coverage just in case. News at 11. Joining us now, WSMV reporter Steve Mailen. And Steve, appreciate you coming on the show today.
Yeah, Chad, appreciate you having me.
I want to get to the bottom of all that's going on out. There's so much, who's involved, who's not involved. We just got a thing now where there's audio out there and there's meetings being called, and it's just kind of give us a little, snapshot of what's happening with real information rather than bits and pieces.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, this has just been a joint kind of like state and federal operation, but Tennessee Highway Patrol, they actually just gave us, brand new numbers and a little bit more perspective into what the operation was. This is something that they call a coordinated public safety effort focusing around traffic enforcement. They've done 369 traffic stops, and they've been working alongside ICE and Homeland Security investigations agents throughout areas of South Nashville. As you know, this includes South Nashville, Antioch, Paragon Mills, that type of area along Nolensville Pike and other places there. As of right now, we just got new stuff from the Metro Legal Director, Wally Dietz, and as of right now, they still have no evidence to support the Metro Police were a part of the operation. That was obviously the reason for this special called Public Health and Safety meeting happening at 4, which I'll actually be at. And that's kind of the whole thing surrounding this, was that they wanted to find out if Metro Police, who was involved, if Metro knew about it. But this was really seems to just be a state and federal operation that, Governor Lee just spoke about a couple minutes, about an hour ago down in Columbia, basically saying the state is ready to support the federal government in these types of efforts. And this is about Tennessee's first example of that kind of coming to fruition.
Talking to Steve Mailen, WSMV reporter, covering all the things going on with ICE and THP. How do you know how they're picking randomly where they're going, what they're doing, and this? Because you gave us several places there. Is it an area they're focused on? What's going on there?
Yeah, as far as we hear from the Highway Patrol, they're telling us this is they're focusing on areas of suspected gang activity and with a history of serious traffic crashes. Now, these are areas that fall under Metro Police's South Precinct. Now, the South Precinct has the most crime counts for about 19% of total city offenses. Now that ranges from traffic all the way, to serious felonies. So they're kind of concentrating their efforts in that area because they believe that, they can, I guess, have the greatest impact on pulling back on, traffic crashes and also gang activity in that area.
So this afternoon, they're going to have an emergency meeting, because everything's an emergency. As you know, Steve, because without saying the word emergency, nobody's paying attention. What do we think we're going to get from this?
I think it's just a chance for Metro Council members. They had a press conference back on Monday that I was at. I think they just are trying to figure out whether Metro Police leaders were a part of this operation. They're trying to separate and find out, all right, who was involved from the federal level, the state level, and the local level. And as of right now, there's really no evidence to support that there were people at the local level who knew about this operation. I think that's just something that they're trying to kind of get a handle on so that they can, in a way, they want to dispel any rumors that have been put out there or, any hearsay that's going on social media or wherever around the city. So they're just trying to get to the bottom of that situation.
Steve, there's hearsay in social media? You mean some of the stuff on social media is not true?
It's not for me to make that assumption, obviously, but that's something that they're definitely taking a look at. From their words, that's something that they want to look at.
Have you talked to some of the activists? Because again, another one of those things where now that we're pretty clear that Metro wasn't involved, so I don't even know why we're having this emergency meeting at this point in time. But the activists that are out there, because they're paid to be activists, and the families are worried. There's a lot of misinformation and disinformation everywhere. Have you talked to the activists?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to plenty of immigrants' rights groups over the past couple of days. Their big thing is working with the families of the people that reportedly detained. We still don't have an exact number of people detained. That's one thing that I unfortunately cannot get answered by Homeland Security. Although there's been 84 arrests that have been made by Homeland Security and by ICE, they still haven't said the amount of people that have been detained and taken to that facility down in Louisiana. So that's something that they're still trying to, again, get to the bottom of. I think there's a lot of answers still need to be had in the situation, but that'll obviously come as the days go on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. Like, if you were pulled over and you had an outstanding warrant, even if you were a citizen, are they? They're not shipping you down to Louisiana, right?
As far as I'm aware, it's the way that THP put it out to us was that they're doing these traffic stops based on moving violations or violations that they take a look at. They've done 369 of them in the past 3 days alone, and from there they're checking identification, and if it doesn't really check out, then they kind of pass it over to ICE agents who are right there alongside with them, so they take it from there.
Steve Mailen at WSMV, as we talk about what's going on with ICE, and now that Metro, and a lot of people are texting in or upset, well, who cares if Metro's involved? Well, it's obviously the politics of it all, because this is the battle that's going on in sanctuary cities and stuff across the nation, and now kind of, Steve, I'm sure you're finding this right now, the stuff that's happening here, it's kind of getting some national attention.
Oh, for sure. I think this is this has definitely gained national attention because I think that Tennessee is showing that, one of the first states to really see one of these larger traffic enforcements. They're really showing the, cooperation between state and federal leaders. This is, in a way, becoming a blueprint, I think, for other states that are looking to join in and help federal partners in these types of enforcement. So I think a lot of eyes are on Tennessee right now.
How many ICE agents do we have in the state? Do you know?
I do not have that number on me.
You should go get it. We'll wait.
Well, we're still working to find out, what exactly the Central Immigration Office is going to look like, because obviously that was something in the special session we saw happen this past year, and that's something we're kind of keeping tabs on with the governor as well. There's not really a certain idea of what that's going to look like, but we do know that that's going to be basically an office that's there to cooperate with federal authorities.
What are we looking at going forward? Are we going to have a lot more of these? Is it going to become more random, or are they going to move on to other parts of the state or move on to other states?
I don't think it's really clear on how much more enforcement we may see. I mean, although we've seen it over the past 3 nights, basically 3.5 days, I don't think Homeland Security is necessarily publishing when they're going to be doing these types of enforcements. So we don't really have a timeline on how long this may go on for, how short it will be, but it's definitely something, as always, we're keeping an eye on.
Talking to Steve Mailen, WSMV reporter, as he covers what's going on with ICE, THP. The politicians, obviously, politics is a big deal in this situation, but the families are. And I'm sure you've spoken to some of the families who are probably worried. Now, this is the whole thing, is everybody's terrified about what's going on. Well, if you're here illegally, I mean, you can be here illegally. We get it. And you could not have done anything outside of coming in this country. But I think everybody knows at some point in time, there's always the risk of a knock at the door or you getting pulled over. There's always been that risk.
Although that's not really necessarily something that we've seen so far, obviously this is now becoming more of a reality, I think, especially for people here in Tennessee.
What's the sense? Because, you hear some people who are interviewed, whether it's with you guys or the other horrible stations that are out there that aren't you guys, and you get a lot of families are saying, well, we're just going to self-deport. Are you getting a sense that there's a lot of that where people are just now to the point where they feel like they're just going to leave?
I haven't really gotten the sense that people necessarily are ready to go. It seems like from a lot of these immigrant rights activist groups, that their main focus is on trying to, fight for staying around. That's kind of their focus, but also they're kind of focusing on the families right now. I think they're trying to support them as they try to find their loved ones. There's some people that tell us that they can't even find them because ICE has the detainee lookup page on their website, and some of them can't even find them on those pages. So I think a lot of questions they're trying to get answered right now because there's a lot of unknowns that, as that bus headed down to Louisiana.
Oh, man, I appreciate you coming on, taking time out of your day to talk about this. And we're going to keep your number just in case stuff starts to break. And everybody wants to know how old you are. I get a lot of that. We said you were 14.
That's always the funny question. 24.
There you go. Look at that. 24. My goodness. Young, got the prime of your life in front of you, right? We're a bunch of old geezers here, us talking about our slip-on shoes. Appreciate you coming on today, man. We look forward to talking to you again.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much. Take it easy.
Steve Mailen right there, WSMV. You got a little bit of info. And again, now you got this emergency meeting at what time today? 4 o'clock, Ken? They're all going to get together. We've got audio now that says Metro's not even involved in it.
That's what he said, 4 o'clock.
So why are we having a meeting at this point? I hate meetings.
I reckon we're going to find out.
That way they can, the groups can get out there. And we're going to talk to Aftyn here in an hour. We don't know the numbers, but we do know that this is a state and a federal thing. Okay. I mean, we're getting somewhere. and they're pulling people over. And, and remember, everything that happens is going to be challenged. Because now what you're going to get is you're going to get people coming in going, hey, hold on, unlawful search and seizure, it's like you're pulling people over just randomly, there's no just a cause, et cetera, et cetera. Everything is litigatable, I guess is a good way to describe it. I mean, that's kind of where we're at in this situation. So it'll be interesting to see how Aftyn, what she has to say about all of this. And now, especially now that we know that the Metro's not involved, which is the big deal that I think that everybody here wants to know. And a lot of you are like, why isn't Metro involved? Because they're not. There you go. We're going to find out. We'll have more conversations about it a little bit later. Ken, I was very interested in you when you were talking about what's going on with Diddy and some of the people that were like, a guy got kicked off the jury pool because he's like, yeah, I want to get revenge for my daughters or whatever. Like what?
Well, that and guy said, look, man, I can't go that long without smoking pot.
You know what?
That's a good way to get out of jury duty.
Wait a minute. He actually said that to the judge?
Yeah. Said he can't go more than 24 hours without smoking pot.
So that's all brilliant. Of you who are listening right now, who are always trying to think of the way to get out of jury duty, apparently smoking weed may get you out. Smoking weed. Minneapolis Airport. Only place where I got pulled for luggage check. Wow, that's crazy. Well, that's a place where you couldn't smoke, so that was really sad for those of you not...
Yeah, that sucked. I remember those days, man, craving cigarettes, dude. It sucked.
That was the hardest thing you've ever done?
Hardest thing I ever did was quit smoking. Hardest thing by far.
Man, that is...
As far as, doing something like that on your own. Because I just quit cold turkey. I mean, I kind of got lucky because I got real sick. Got a really bad lung infection. So I couldn't smoke for 6 days. So I went 6 days and I just thought, yeah, you know what? My baby girl, my daughter was only 5 at the time. She was telling me to quit. And I said, now's as good a time as any. I might as well just do it.
That is awesome.
And I did it.
Because, you think, a lot of times people in life, we've talked about this a while ago. The other day we were talking about, what's his name? The director, was it Smith or whatever? It was Bell and I were chatting about it. Like he's lost all this weight and everything, but he was big. And it wasn't until there was something that prompted him. And that was he had a widowmaker and he almost died.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Well, it does it for anybody, right? Like you make that change right then. It's like, dude, this is your choice. You're going to drop dead or you can get fit and life will be good.
But you know what, dude? My dad, one of my dad's best friends, and mind you, my dad is pushing 80. One of his best friends only has one lung.
Really?
The one lung is on oxygen, and he still smokes.
That is insane. Although, you know what? He's 80.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's like that Burgess Meredith line in, Grumpier Old Men?
Yeah.
I'm 94 years old. What do I care?
Yeah. I mean, if you're 80 and like your sell-by date was 74...
Yeah.
You got 6 years. What's going to happen if they come to him and say, dude, you got 9 months to live? You should, the fact that you lived this long with one lung and smoking is amazing.
You might celebrate.
There you go. Although
with a cigarette.
I'm always fascinated by people who smoke by oxygen. That's just, here's your sign. Oh, my goodness me. A lot of stuff we're going to squeeze into today. We got some economic news. We got some other wacky stuff going on out there. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on in the Pope world. A bunch of other good stuff as well. If you're missing the show, check us out across all of our social media. We got YouTube. We do not have Rumble, so don't go there. We have Twitch. We have Twitter. We have Facebook. And that's it. That's all we got. So you can check out my social media as well, at Chad Benson Show. This is Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Right now, you can win up 2,000 times your money with my friends over at Prize Picks, baby. What is Prize Picks? It's above, it's below, it's that simple. Now, you download the app, use my code CHAD. You're going to get $50 bonus when you play your first $5 lineup. Lineup is easy. You're playing players, above and below. So let's just go out there and say Oh, I don't know. Declan Rice, soccer, right now, is going on. I think he's going to have more than 3 shots in this game. And if it's above that, you win. But then you got to pick another side of the lineup. And let's say you decide to go with baseball and you think Shohei Ohtani's going to have more than 1.5 hits. And if he's above that, you win. It's that simple. You also get a chance right now to get a VIP trip for 2 to the championship, the basketball championship. What? Just for playing. Play the $5 lineup. Get a $50 bonus right now when you use my code Chad. Download the app. It's simple and easy. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be 21 and present in Tennessee. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-426-2537.
We have new details about the ongoing illegal immigration enforcement operation in Nashville. We'll share that with you and more coming up at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The Cardinals now cut off from the world, the Vatican using signal jamming, the chapel and living quarters swept for bugs. This is the most diverse conclave ever. 80% of the cardinals chosen by Pope Francis, the world speculating if it could produce Asia's first pope. But Kasun Fernando, a seminarian from Sri Lanka, saying whoever is elected will reflect the times.
I'm from Asia and he's from Africa, but it's the Holy Spirit work.
The wait now beginning, watching the chimney for white smoke.
It's crazy because CNN has a little box with the chimney on it. They've been in there like 20 minutes.
Yeah, Fox does too. I like the bird that shows up and just sits there for a little bit, then flies off. I think they're seagulls.
You think he's sitting there going, hey, guys, you guys see I was on TV? What'd you think of that? I was on the TV. Did you guys see me? It's pretty popular.
I think he's going to shove a rag in the chimney and stop it up.
Yeah.
Stuff it up.
Oh, my
Stuff
goodness. Oh, how would that? Oh, geez, because birds aren't real. We already know that. Birds aren't real.
Go smoke out all the cardinals.
They all come out. And the birds all, ha, ha. And you're like, what's up with that bird? You're like, oh, my God. And I'm sure the Jews will get blamed for that. It is, but, you think about it, like, because we don't have that. Like the Christians, like the closest thing we ever had to anything that was somebody that was Billy Graham. And he didn't, you didn't have to speak to Billy to get to God.
No.
So we don't have that kind of thing. But the Catholics do, and he's the leader of the church. And this is, that's like, you go from, like, whoever's picked, whether it's today or, Bell says in 8 months from now, whenever he thinks, was it 10 days, is that what you said? 10 days.
8 months.
Ken said 7.
I say 7 days. I'm sticking by it.
By this weekend, there will be a new pope. But think about it. You go from nobody really knowing you to the entire world basically knowing you.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's almost like the election of an internet. Well, I mean, it is an election of an international figure, but it's as important as the election of any country's leader.
Yes, because you're the leader of the Catholics across the globe. Where, Trump he's the leader here, obviously, but yeah, they have sway on the world and all this stuff. But being the Pope, you are what you're afforded and what you're leading. Nobody else leads as many people as the Pope does. When you think about it, as far as, what is it? How many? 1.2 billion Catholic? That's a lot of Catholics right there. And you have to think about it. Like somebody, because I'm going to win, by this weekend is going to head into the Room of Tears, which is a weird place to start your whole thing. Like, remember how cool life was when nobody knew who he was? Well, it's about to change. But everybody in the world's going to know you. And it's also the people that were your friends, the people who knew you now they call you pontiff. And now there's all of this pomp and circumstance. Like, everything changes in an instant. There's nothing else. Like, you don't have that anywhere else. Nothing else like that. And that's and heavy is the heavy is the head. It carries that crown. And you got a lot of this Pope has business stuff that they've been talking about for a while that they've got to still clean up.
Is that going to make poping any easier?
It is not.
Okay.
Going to make it any easier. Trump is the leader of the world.
It ain't ever going to be easier.
No, Trump. No. Dude, poping's never going to be easy because that's part of the thing about poping is it's tough, right? You got all this stuff. You got that big place you got to take care of. You got people coming to you all the time. Can you help me with this? Can I talk to you about that?
Can you bless my baby?
Can you bless my baby? I'm still wondering, are they going to go conservative or are they going to go more to the left? To the left, to the left.
I'll say they're going to go left.
Yeah, I think so too. They're trying to expand that tent and it's funny, every time I hear them saying marginalized group, it's always the LGBTQ+.
Yeah.
This is what they always talk about. Like, it's the LGBTQ+. It's the LGBTQ+. It's always that. And my friend, one of my good friends, he's gay, and he's like, I don't get, what does he think is going to happen? Like, oh, this guy's totally cool with the gay, so we're going to now be Catholic?
Yeah.
He goes, no. I'm like, okay, I get it. So this will be interesting. We are on Pope Watch as well. We've got our crack team. Who'd we send over there? Who? Anybody? You send any of our guys over there?
No.
All right. So we'll have to get on that.
Better hurry
late now.
Better hurry, and they better have a real ID.
Oh, that's right. Oh, dude, I was totally going to go. They said way more left. Somebody just texted, this Pope elevated 60% of the current at Carl. Yeah, that's for sure. So we've already tried. We're going to throw our Pope names out a little bit later. I went with Johnny Thunder, but apparently that's not. You know what's a good one? Boniface.
Say that again?
Boniface. That's one of the cardinal names you can choose from.
Is it really?
Uh-huh. Yeah. So there's another one. I forgot. When we come back, because I know there's one other one. I'm trying to think who it was, who was arguably the most powerful pope in history. We'll talk a little bit about that. Talk a little bit about, who knows what. I got crazy sound for you, too. Oh, my goodness. Being an influencer in the world that we live in, doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter what goes on. Crazy people are still out there. We'll talk about that straight ahead. Chad Bench Show, Super Talk 99.7.
1:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Drivers still got that road work blocking the left lane. 840 eastbound at 65 in Franklin. Then in Bellevue, an injury crash 70 south at Old Hickory Boulevard. And over by the airport, police reporting a crash 40 eastbound at Briley Parkway. Full forecast in 5 minutes. New developments in the ongoing federal illegal immigration enforcement operation in Nashville, focused around now 369 traffic stops, we learned from Channel 4's Steve Mehling. This involves the Highway Patrol and Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They say they're looking for moving violations to conduct the traffic stops in areas where they say there are a lot of crashes and possible gang activity. Metro Legal just emailed audio of an agent from Federal Homeland Security asking Metro Police on Sunday for patrols around the ICE facility in case of trouble.
They are doing operations throughout the weekend, and they're concerned of the families having some backlash on Sunday.
So Metro Legal says this confirms Metro Police only provided the patrol of that facility until the Highway Patrol showed up, and that Metro Police did not participate in any detainment operation. Money news, the Federal Reserve leaving interest rates unchanged today. That's despite pressure from President Trump to lower rates. The Fed warning today the trade war might increase inflation and unemployment. And the Real ID deadline is here. Senior TSA official Adam Stahl telling travelers,
get to the airport early, approximately 2 hours. If you do not have a Real ID, we suggest going even possibly earlier.
Without a Real ID?
You could face delays at the checkpoint. And in extremely rare cases, if we can't confirm or validate your identity, possible denial.
Now, you could use other documents like a military ID or passport. However,
enroll as soon as you can, especially ahead of a busy travel season.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Beacon Capital Management. Retirement's not just about money. It's not just about dollars and cents. Well, that's important. You don't want to outlive what you've got. One of the things you do want to make sure you have is all of the other stuff, and that's what Beacon provides. Things like help with health care, estate planning, tax planning, and long-term care. Those things are important. As you get to the point where you're enjoying your life, you got to think about some of the other things, and that's where Beacon comes in. That's what I want you to do. They're amazing. They're local. You can call them and go over and see them. 615-488-9303 for Beacon. You get out there and have a chat. They're going to get you out, first and foremost, a retirement-ready toolkit. So with this, you're going to get a Money Enough for Life book, a retirement planning checklist, and a Maximizing Your Retirement Income white paper. No cost, no obligation, no pressure whatsoever. But think about all the other things that maybe you don't think about when it comes to retirement, like the health care and everything else, and see what Beacon can do for you. Call them today. Get your retirement-ready toolkit, 615-488-9303, or find them online at AskBeaconNow.com. Afton Bane is going to grow. She's going to join us at 2:05 today. Talk about what's going on. ICE, THP, joined together at the hip, fallen in love. No, but Metro wasn't involved. All Metro did, as they pointed out earlier, and they're sending over the audio, they just made sure that the detention area was patrolled because they were worried about there could be some unrest, something like that. That's just totally fine. But we're going to have a conversation about it because we need to have conversations about stuff. That's, my thing. It's what we do. And she's kind enough to join us. And we want to be able to have these kind of conversations. And, we were talking earlier to Steve Mailen of WSMVs, kind of giving us a lowdown of what's happening. And they've got a meeting, an emergency meeting at 4 today. Metro's going to sit down, the council, and going to talk. I don't know what they're going to talk about now that we know that Metro's not involved. But it's always good to have an emergency because that's good for business. Crazy is everywhere. On my national show, I do a thing called Woke Wednesday where we just pick woke stuff up and just laugh. This is hilarious. So there's a runner. First of all, there's a running influencer. I could think of nothing else more insane. You want to come running? No, I don't. You know what I want? I want a couch influencer. What's this? It's a couch. What are we going to do? We're going to sit down. I'm going to tell you how awesome the couch is. This goes back. This comes up. This thing massages you. It's phenomenal.
And this is where you put your hot chicken and beer.
Oh, goodness me. Look at that right there. He knows. We could do it. You and I could do this.
Yeah, we could be couch influencers.
That's good. I've always wanted to have a protest where we don't do anything. That's the protest. How many people participate? So many people we couldn't even count. That's how many people protest. Because nobody was there. See? So the running influencer had the audacity. Now, at one time, she got Tim Walz right before the election to come out and do a run. See, so what she does, normally she just interviews all kinds of folks, right? Like stars. That's kind of the jam. But she had the audacity to invite another person that you guys might be familiar with because she is a big running influencer to do a run. And that person is a lady named Caroline.
How many miles are you running today? No miles because we're at the beautiful White House, but why don't I give you a tour? Let's do it. My name is Caroline Levitt. I am from New Hampshire and I am the White House press secretary. And this is the beautiful White House. We're currently walking on what we call Pebble Beach. This is where all of the press hang out.
Guys, we have to stop for a second and look at this. I can't believe you get to wake up and be here every single day. Is this a dream come true for you?
It is a dream come true. The White House is so beautiful, especially this time of year. That's where President Trump and the first family lived. And then this is the front entrance to the West Wing.
What is your roles and responsibilities at the White House?
Yeah, my job is to relay the president's message and his agenda and his views and feelings to the American people.
So she went and did that horrific, super right wing. It was like listening to, I'm sitting there going, is that Ava Braun? That's the way that people took it on the internet. So where do we start? How about this? You guys might recognize this lady, Tim Walz's daughter, who apparently wants to tell everybody how running is a privilege.
Running as an act is political. And you know who taught me that? Tim Walz. The first thing he told me when I was first getting into it in high school was that running is a privilege, and being a part of the running community is a privilege that not all people have access to. Whether you do it recreationally or you race a lot or you are, at the elite level, it is a privilege. Whether it be you just having the time to run, access to funds to buy the gear, access to, healthy quality foods that fuel you as you're training and as you're running, access to, a safe, stable situation that allows you to be in a good mental state to be able to run. All of those things are hard to come by. And if you have them and are a part of the running community, that is a privilege.
Okay, let's talk about some of the greatest runners of all time. Long distance here, because, Eliud Kipchoge, Kelvin Kiptum, Kenshi Bekele, Kenya, Ethiopia. No white. No, by the way, you can't blame Whitey on this one, okay? And several of them ran with no shoes. So here's the thing about running and privilege. First of all, I didn't even know there was running privilege because I think being forced to run is not a privilege. But this is what I'm talking about, the insane. You can't do anything where you sit down and even have a conversation with Caroline Levitt. That's crazy. If KJP invited me to the White House, I'm going. We're going to have fun, right? She wants to show me around the White House. Good time, right? And she wants to get involved in our new group that Ken and I have come up. Ken would come with me. You come with me, right, Ken? If KJP invited us to the White House?
Depends on if it's football season.
Well, let's just say they want to invite us over and they're going to let us watch on the big screen because we're doing our couch because we started a new group where we're just sitting on the couch. It's phenomenal.
As long as there's plenty of hot chicken.
There you go. Hot chickens or chickens?
Chicken.
Okay, there we go. I'd go. Yeah, of course, it's the White House, right? She went just to speak to people at the White House. It's phenomenal. She didn't go there to tell everybody, hey, you guys better become MAGA or you can't run with me. But the insanity of this, and then, of course, it is always with white women. Why is it with you and privilege? Right? Why is that with you and privilege? More of this insanity from people who are angry because she spoke to the other side. You shouldn't do that. They're not the other side. They're Americans. Maybe you just don't agree with them on the political level, but they're still Americans, and you should want to hear from them. Right? I know most of you, out there listening, you're like, yeah, they may frustrate me, but of course I want to hear from them.
I'm a running influencer, and I do not use my social media to platform fascists with some, both sides when we really know, if you look at history, there were not both sides in Nazi Germany, okay? Ask a historian, read the news, read a book. It's always white women. It's always white woman.
This
and
is
I feel
a white
with
woman,
my
by the way.
platforms and when I'm making these political videos that are speaking to influencers, I am speaking to these white women influencers that have huge followings. Hey, if you want to say I'm uneducated about politics or I want to stay neutral with my platforms, you are telling your followers of color that are trans, that are impacted by the Trump administration, that are immigrants, that you don't give a about them. Max put something up on her story I'm getting so much hate for doing this interview, what the yeah, obviously you shouldn't get hate, but you did something. It was an action that you chose. You chose to take a check from the Trump administration, and there's consequences from it.
There was no check. She's an influencer. Karen Levitt and the MAGA folks, they didn't pay her to come out there. She does this. She did with Tim Walz. And you know what's funny? No MAGA people. We said, how dare you platform Tim Walz in a jogging. How dare you do that? How dare you platform somebody? Again, first of all, it's running. And it's a weird way to do an interview. I wanted to do politics and pars, which was golf. And then I just wanted to sit on the couch. That was the other thing. That was my good one. You just want to come over and we'll just, again.
Yeah, I just want to sit on the couch.
That's a good one right there. So that's, this is the insanity that's going on out there. The world has lost its mind. And I feel, I think it's getting worse. Again, I think it's getting worse. We've gotten to the point now where we can't have nice things. And that frustrates the hell out of me because we should have nice things. We should be able to have nice things. But it's now a battle in the culture that is driving me crazy to the point where, we're going to talk to Aftyn next hour, and some of you are going to be mad because I don't scream at her, or others are going to be mad because, for whatever reason, because the sky's blue or gray or ends in a Y. But we can't have nice things because the only way for anybody apparently to notice anything anymore is not by actions, not by getting stuff done, by, screaming and yelling. Case in point, the thing we talked about yesterday with the lady who's dropping the N-bombs to this little kid, right? So she's over $750,000 raid. And when I talked to Chris is like, well, it's kind of a reaction to what happened to the Carmelo Anthony thing where he stabbed, Austin Metcalf out in Texas. I'm like, why is it a reaction to anything? And I'm a free speech guy, right? She didn't threaten to beat up the kid, and it's a horrible thing. But then you've got people coming out and supporting because it's about cancel culture and not canceling. Nobody was canceled. Cancel her from what? Just gonna be honest. I don't know if she's got a lot going on. And that's frustrating. Then you add the whole thing with Dave Portnoy, who this is the latest insanity. So this guy's name is Mohammed Mokan. He was one of the guys who had the blank the Jews at the bar. And he was one of the guys that Dave's like, no, I don't want to ruin their lives. And then the next thing you know, what's he do? Well, he's a victim. So he goes online to beg for money.
Over this past weekend, I was at an establishment in Philadelphia where an incident occurred, and Dave Portnoy sensationalized it to his 9.2 million followers on Instagram and X, essentially turning it into a global news story. Although I had nothing to do with the sign coming out, nor do I know who did it, I know that the sign was provocative because it reminded people a lot of the unjust things that Israel is doing around the world, thus leading me to report on it. Dave Portnoy and his friends can choose to be triggered over the sentiments of that sign and even kick me out of the establishment forever. However, they have no right to destroy my life over free speech and ultimately something that was an edgy joke. Frankly, they're more worried about destroying and uprooting me than the thousands of people getting destroyed and uprooted in genocide.
So he goes out there and he starts now becoming the victim and how his life is ruined. Now, remember, Portnoy wanted to give the guy a chance, right? And so now it's like, no, you've ruined my life, apparently. And rather than give me a chance to make a teaching lesson, he goes after Dave and then, of course, has to ask for money.
Please, I'm imploring you. I'm asking you for help to pay for these attacks, to pay for any possible legal restitution, any relocation expenses, any educational expenses, and show the founders of cancel culture that their reign of tyranny is over.
Yeah. So there's that. Then he goes on a talk show of a scumbag that I will not mention. But during that talk show, they talk about who? Dave Portnoy. And the guy that is got a huge following, by the way. And at this time, I think he had 15,000 people watching it live and cheering him on during this.
This guy's not a good guy. He just utterly destroyed my life. No, he's not a good guy. He's a
filthy Jew, is what he says.
Good guy. He's a filthy Jew.
And people are like, yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, how do we get here? Where you get millions of likes for saying the other side sucks and is horrible. And other people are like, yeah, you know, there's this. And we got more to play later that is, I sit here and I think to myself, I don't get it. I thought we were better than this. Maybe I'm wrong, Bell. Maybe I'm wrong.
Some people are, but not everyone.
No. I think we're better than that. You know why? Because we're fun, and that's what we do. And we look on the bright side of stuff and realize we're all humans. We are. So whether you like it or not, we're all humans. We're all human beings on this planet, this giant flat planet that we live on. Saw some more of those guys yesterday, too. They're fun, at least, right? You could tell them, I don't agree with you, but they don't come and attack you yet. It's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Rough Greens, ruffgreens.com/chat. Go there now. Get a Jumpstart trial bag of Rough Greens for free. Take the 90-day challenge. Let me tell you about Rough Greens. My older dog, his name was Doodle. He's since passed away. But we were going to put him to sleep about 7 years ago because he was struggling. His hips were bad. He could barely walk. It was a bad situation. And lo and behold, we started giving him Rough Greens. And we hadn't worked with Rough Greens, and it was incredible. It saved his life, and it added years to his life. Vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9. It can do the same thing for your dog. So take the 90-day challenge. You get a Jumpstart trial bag of Rough Greens for free. All it costs you is shipping. It's a $20 value. And watch what happens over the next 90 days. From more energy to a healthier coat to better digestive tract, heart health, it is incredible. Try a Jumpstart trial bag now and take the 90-day challenge with Rough Greens. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad, ruffgreens.com/Chad.
New developments in the ongoing federal illegal immigration enforcement operation in Nashville, and Yellowstone reports the first buffalo goring of the season. That's coming up at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Wait. You can't just tease me like that. We had an alligator
actually,
attack.
you can. That's why it's called a tease.
We had an alligator attack.
Yes, sir.
And we got a buffalo goring.
Yeah. 47-year-old man.
Let me guess.
Tell me he
trying
was
to pet
taking a
the
selfie.
buffalo.
Tell me he was taking a selfie. Tell me he was.
Well, the details are murky, but yeah, he apparently thought it'd be okay.
That right there is why I don't feel bad when nature messes you up. You know, like the couple in the canoe.
Yeah, that was
this nature.
That was bad luck.
You know, I mean, I don't know. There's not a lot you can do other than not go out around nature.
Especially, don't go out in a canoe in Florida.
No, man. I tell you what. So, if you guys know, if you ever watch the internet, there's a guy named Jay who owns Prehistoric Pets, and he's all over the interwebs. He was as big as any influencer out there. He's got several million followers. I grew up in the reptile business, and Jay and I were friends, and we went to Florida. And we went to Florida. He goes, hey, we're all going to go out. So it was Jeff, one of the guys that worked with us. It was him, and it was his daughters. So his daughters are all grown up now. You can see them all over the channel. But they were in my canoe. And the weird thing about Florida is they kind of give you canoes where you can go down these things, and there's gators everywhere. Like, it's the weirdest
It's part of life.
thing in the world, because you'll be sitting there. We came out through this little, it almost looked like you were rowing through like a tunnel of like, all kinds of plants and everything. And then you get out in the middle of this thing, and it's like it opens up almost to like a lake, and there's hundreds of gators, and all of them go off of the land, and they go right underneath us. And I'm like, I got his like 3-year-old daughter in the thing. And what are we doing? Like, this is insane.
Yeah, exactly.
And he thinks, it's like, and trust me, guys, I've had every animal you could think of, poisonous, big, huge, the whole 9 yards. But still, I don't put myself in insane situations.
Right. Yeah.
And there's some, you're in a canoe, and it flips you over. There's not a lot you can do.
Right.
Gators, crocodiles, polar bears, hippos, they're aggressive. So she died, and now we got a guy who sounds like he wanted to try to pet. I would like to pet it, George.
Oh, they're so cute. They don't look like they can run very fast.
It'll understand that I have no ill will.
Yeah, that's. I always feel like that's,
They're just big and fat and lumbering.
I wish somebody would be honest when they were there going, I don't know what I was doing. I kind of deserved that.
I was high, and I just figured I'd go out there and pet the bison, and all of a sudden, I'm in an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah. I deserved every bit of that. You know what? He good for him.
Speaking of gators, we used to have some family who lived down in Belle Chase, just outside of New Orleans, and we were going on a walk, and I remember my wife's nephew's dad saying, mind the gutters and the ditches. I said, why? And he said, gators.
It's so scary, isn't it?
It had just rained. So you got to be careful around those ditches down there in New Orleans, man.
If there is a little bit of, if you're driving your bike down the street in Florida and there's a little bit of water on the ground, move around it, because for whatever reason, there might be a gator in it. It's crazy how insane that they have seemed to have made all of Florida, which is part of Florida. It's part of the fun. Everything can kill you in Florida. It's like Australia, but it's Florida.
Yeah.
Speaking of fun, Afton is going to join us. We're going to talk about Metro, ICE, all the things that are going on. We're going to get the left side of it. We get the right side from you guys and me. We're going to get the left side of it. We're going to have a conversation with her straight ahead. Should be fun. If you miss any of the show, we always say, shame on you. Grab the podcast. Chat Ben's Show. Super Talk 99.7.
Two o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Drivers, looks like we got debris blocking the right two lanes of the South Loop going eastbound. It's going to be right there at 4th Avenue. Debris blocking the right two lanes, 40 eastbound over here on the South Loop downtown. Then in Franklin, still got road work blocking the left lane, 840 eastbound at I-65. Got an injury crash in Bellevue, 70 south at Old Hickory Boulevard, then by the airport, eastbound 40 at Briley Parkway. New developments in the ongoing federal illegal immigration enforcement operation in Nashville. Sumner County has signed up to help federal agents under the 287G program, which allows local agencies to take on some federal duties like jail enforcement, also serving civil immigration warrants. Sumner County joins 5 other Tennessee counties in this effort, including Giles, Knox, Greene, Hamilton, and Putnam. Here in Nashville, Metro Legal emailed audio of a federal agent asking the Department of Emergency Communications for a police presence at Homeland Security's Nashville ICE facility in case of family backlash for detainments over the weekend.
It also, no one might show up. It's just something that they're just trying to prevent kind of anticipating some anger from the families.
Metro Legal says this proves Metro Police did not take part in detainments, only provided patrols of that ICE facility until troopers took over. Channel 4's Steve Mailing tells WTN's Chad Benson Show the number of traffic stops conducted so far total at least 369, with at least 80 undocumented people detained since it started late Saturday, according to ICE. ICE says some of those undocumented detainees have violent criminal records. Another example at Yellowstone National Park that it's not smart getting too close to wildlife.
A 47-year-old man from Florida is recovering after a trip to Yellowstone National Park. Park rangers say he got too close to a bison and he was gored. He had apparently approached the bison and then received minor injuries. He was treated by emergency workers in the park. An investigation has been opened into how it unfolded. The park says it's the first reported incident of a person injured by a bison in 2025. There were 2 last year, and the warnings are the bison will defend their space, and all visitors must stay at least 25 feet away from bison.
And then there's
Stone, EBC News.
Sorry about that, Brother Alex. And then there's that alligator attack that killed a woman who was canoeing with her husband on a lake just south of Orlando yesterday afternoon. Officials say the 61-year-old woman was sitting in the bow of a 14-foot canoe with her husband when the boat passed over a large gator, and it thrashed and tipped it over, killing her. Her husband tried to save her, but was unsuccessful. And it looks like we might have just had 1 vote and no pope. Is that what I'm looking at live?
We are pope-free. I repeat, we are breaking news. We are pope-free. 1 vote, done, pope-free.
Black smoke, not white smoke. And that's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Thunderstruck indeed. Once again, a reminder, no pope. Black smoke. Just came out of the pope stuff. Pope Jimmy.
You sure that's not orange?
It's
orange
it's
to me.
not orange. I promise you that. I don't know if you guys are aware. This stuff's been going on in and around here. And Afton Bane is joining us, and she's kind enough to do so. And because we have fun, we have conversation, which I love to do. And all right, Afton, I want to hear your side. We've got all the sides that are coming in, and I want you to have a chance to, talk about what's happening and what's got you a little upset.
I really appreciate it. I mean, obviously some of your listeners aren't going to agree with me, but I think the biggest thing here is that for your listeners, the Tennessee Highway Patrol does not have a formal agreement with ICE. And this is a huge problem, and it's a big problem for, I think, your folks in particular, because it represents a significant expansion of state power without clear legal authority. And so if the Highway Patrol is able to conduct these enforcement and do the dirty work of the federal government, what is to stop them from expanding their authority further and coming after the rest of us?
So because now we know Metro is not involved. We do know that now. The only thing they did was, if I'm correct, they patrolled in and around the area where people were being held, which was a lot. I know that a lot of Democrats, a lot of people want to know if Metro was involved. They're not. But you're saying that the Highway Patrol has no agreement whatsoever with ICE or with the federal government.
Correct. And despite this, I mean, they basically, we've heard anecdotes on the ground that THP, which in their jurisdiction is to pull people over for highway offenses, right? Traffic offenses. And what they were doing is that we've heard some anecdotes of, asking people where your license is, show me your tattoos, are you here illegally? So that the anecdotes on the ground are not in alignment with the scope of their jurisdiction at this moment in time. And that's a big concern for everyone on any political spectrum, is that you have this, state apparatus that is authorized to do these things without any authority and any transparency in terms of your local taxpayers.
Well, I mean, they have some agreements, but this in particular is one, because I know they've got stuff with when it comes to Homeland Security, and criminal investigations on certain things, terrorist task force. They have some of those. Is that something that doesn't bleed over, is what you're saying, into this?
Well, correct. And there's certain stipulations when you enter into this 287G agreement, of which, right now there's only, I believe, 2 counties in the state of Tennessee that have an operating 287G agreement, is that you have to engage in education. There's lots of training around it, because there are lots of federal, as you know, bureaucracy and red tape around this, and they don't have the training to do that. So, I mean, on my end, them operating without this authority is highly concerning.
That I know they don't have. There's 38 states that do, but the Tennessee Highway Patrol. Now, what you're going to get from a lot of people, and me, I'm frustrated because we have way too many people here, and I think you recognize that. We can sit here and the semantics battle back and forth, but we have a lot of people that have come here illegally, and, the question is going to be, is what's happening now? Is this a legal search and seizure? Is it a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and you're pulling people over and then they're calling ICE in, who happens to be behind you? There's going to be all of these battles, and the court battles are what's coming straight ahead. But you can understand that, my listeners, the nation, the frustration that people have had over the amount of people that have come here over the last umpteen years. And it goes back long, even before Joe Biden, and the amount of people that are here, where we just feel like there's just a lot of people that we just don't know what's going on.
But it's state highway patrol officers are detaining individuals based on the assumption of immigration status rather than any observable criminal activity. And I don't know if you saw the scope of who they pulled over and what for. I think they pulled over 369 people, and out of that, less than 10 were doing anything criminal. And it wasn't even, and then they pulled even more of those over, and we have no idea where they are. They are out in this, apparatus. And I've seen a lot of comments on, local news media hits as to like, well, they're not owed their due process because they're undocumented. But that's not true. That is not how this country operates, and that is not what is in our Constitution.
No, well, I mean, I've debated that here. Their due process, and there's different ways the due process can go depending if you've applied for asylum and you're waiting to hear, and you're going to have a different kind of due process than if you've never applied for asylum and you're not here legally. You still get due process, but it's obviously different. You get a lot of people out there. And look, I want to hear from everybody's side, because I think it's important, Afton, that we do hear from all sides, because I get bits and pieces. You have some people out there, just throw everybody out, which is, as we all know, is ridiculous. And then the other side, you've got some people say, let everybody stay. Again, all ridiculous. We need to understand that, Tennessee is not California. Where California, this would never happen. But Tennessee, this is. And you've got Metro's not participating. But, you know, you guys are going to have there was a press conference later today, a special meeting that's all going on. This is blowing up, starting to become a national story.
Yeah, and once again, I want to reiterate that especially these types of operations, diverting state law enforcement and local law enforcement resources away from real public safety threats, of which we can all get behind, right? Like violent crime, drug trafficking, human trafficking. And I just want to reiterate that DHS, the statement that came out that said that they had, I guess, captured someone from this Venezuelan gang, et cetera, that has not been corroborated by any local reporter or national reporter. So we have no idea who these people are. We're trying to get more information from them, but it is a really clandestine activity, and that is very sketchy if these folks are citizens, one, but also, haven't been pulled over because they haven't been doing anything illegal or criminally liable.
Well, and there's a perfect example. Are they citizens? Because we also don't know if they are, because we're hearing some people say that these were citizens, and then we're hearing other people say, well, they're not citizens. So it goes back to my frustration of trying to find out what the story really is. And I want to know, because I think we should all know what the hell's going on with our government and with people that are they here illegally? Or are they not? Do they have the due process? Are they in the middle of asylum? Are some of them part of gangs? Are they citizens? I would like to get the story, and I feel like we're not getting it at all.
No, we're not getting it at all. And I'll tell you, the Democratic caucus sent a formal letter to the Highway Patrol asking for answers and nuance in terms of, specific questions as to process and protocol. And we did not get any information back that would allude to internally what went on. That is a problem for Tennesseans. That is a problem for taxpayers. That is a problem for me as a watchdog for government accountability and transparency. That is sketchy. And, I hope more information will come to light in the next few weeks. This is where we may disagree, and I'm sure I'd love to see your face right now. But, I've been watching the Facebook comments a lot, and I think what's really interesting, when I posted, I was able to post a statement about this operation on Sunday, and I had a few emails into my legislative inbox, maybe from some of you listening. And, they were going on and on about, how they're taking resources away. And I responded to this gentleman saying, listen, I know folks are struggling. I know grocery prices are high. I know folks can't afford health care. It is really shitty, excuse my language, out there right now. However, it is not undocumented immigrants to be blamed for what is happening in this country. It is the billionaire class or greedy corporations that are paying these politicians to pass policies that hurt your life. And so I just want to say that to your audience right now is that, independent of what happened and how you feel about undocumented immigrants, the real threat is corporate power and the wealthy that are driving fear and stoking fear to pit us against each other.
Well,
and that's maybe where we disagree.
We may disagree on some of that. I'm not saying all of that I disagree with. Yes, Ken.
Hi, Aftyn. This is Ken Weaver, news director here at WT. And I wanted to ask you, so you guys have requested this information from the agencies involved. Are they legally bound to provide you guys with that information?
That is actually a great question. I don't know to the extent in which that information, how much of that information should be received. And so, obviously, as a state legislator, we don't have subpoena powers. We don't have the powers of federal government. But I will tell you that the answers were cryptic, and it was not providing any insight as to the internal processes of what transpired.
What is the next step? Because, look, there's a lot of people, a lot of listeners are, pissed off and angry because that's what people do. And look, I'm angry too because I saw over the last 4 years and living in Arizona for those 4 years, seeing the amount of people that came across, seeing all the stuff that's happening. My frustration level was through the roof with what the administration, the last administration does. And there's a reason the Democrats aren't in power, and that's one of the big reasons. But there's got to be a step forward where we can try to come together and realize, there's nowhere else in the world where you just wander across and live in somebody's country. And we have to come to some sort of agreement where we have a real idea of how we move this thing forward. But it's hard to get mad at people who are like, I don't want people here illegally, because they're frustrated with a lot of things. And it's not just the millionaire, billionaire class, like you said. There's a lot of things that people feel frustrated at. What is the next step for us as a state, as a country, where we can get this crap started to actually be sorted out?
This is a federal issue, and this is why the system is so messed up, and everyone can relate to that. I think all of your listeners and my folks believe that the system is incredibly screwed. The fact that you can enter this country, apply for asylum, and then have to wait years And not only that, but it is monetarily challenging. I mean, these are, working class folks who are fleeing political violence, of which a lot has been caused by the United States and our intervention in these countries. And they are they're in the pipeline for due process, for doing it the right way, and yet they are picked up by our state law enforcement, who is not legally allowed to do this. I mean, it's just breathtaking. So, I hope as a state that I'd really challenge the folks cheerleading these operations on the sideline to take a hard look at, the immigrants around them in their communities. I went out in my district yesterday, knocking doors in a Hispanic area in Madison, and, I learned a lot. People are scared. People are really scared. And when you really talk about it with, especially, white folks that lived in this district, they were like, I love my neighbors, but I don't like the undocumented ones, right? But it's really hard to discern that, especially when, you're the big bad federal government and you're trying to figure out, how to get these people to be naturalized citizens. So just to say, the federal issue at the state level, I'm just concerned with the big government overreach in terms of the expansion of state power without clear legal authority.
Well, I don't want a police state. I don't think anybody here wants a police state, but I think you got to understand the frustration. I mean, the frustration level is massive because of the amount of people that have come here. Many of them, yes, you've applied for asylum, but it's been our asylum, and they should have changed this. Congress should have got on this years ago. Our asylum process was way too easy, and part of it was the fact that, if you flee from Russia, right, because you think that Putin's going to kill you, which is always a possibility, and you land in another country and you want to apply for asylum, you got to wait there. We're the weird country where you can pass through 12 and come and apply here. It's so bizarre, and the frustration level is real. I feel it when people are frustrated, including the people that are here and have applied for asylum and have to wait forever and a day.
Yeah. And once again, Republicans have a trifecta. Take care of it. We want their, I think both sides want federal immigration reform, but it's just not happening. And I just want to reiterate that, these operations, mass scale, this has never happened in Tennessee history, that it diverts resources away from real public safety threats. Why are we spending taxpayer dollars to detain people who are trying to get to work, literally driving Uber, dropping off their kids while ignoring the real criminals trafficking drugs and guns across the state? Because I have, once again, highly suspect that DHS narrative is true. It remains to be seen, and I'll come back on your show and eat crow if it is true.
Well, we're going to find out, I'm sure, in the next couple of weeks, some stuff. How much of it, I don't know. Again, we're going to agree to disagree on some stuff, and I think that's what life is about. I think it's a good thing that we have a conversation rather than screaming at each other, which is what everybody likes to watch, Afton. What's the next step, though, when it comes to the activists going to charge, they're going to have a big, emergency meeting today. What is the next step for the activists and for you guys?
Yeah, on our end, as the Democratic, I can't speak on behalf of the caucus, but, we're trying to solicit answers as to, I said, process and protocol, because I think it's important to surface that for all Nashvillians, all Tennesseans who want some insight into what happened. And, I'm sure people are lauding federalism now, but guess what? If we have a Democratic trifecta and this happened, can you imagine how upset your listeners would be?
No, I think they would be super excited, too, if they were rolling in here, right? Probably not.
And then, I know there's a meeting today. Metro is offering a meeting around public safety to discuss this and offer public comment. But, right now, I think the concern is just ensuring that we can access the information of folks who have been detained, where they are, how to connect them to families, providing mutual aid support, and trying to ensure that they are connected to the attorneys so that because they are entitled due process. And I just, once again, I have a hard time with, not thinking that this could come back and be used on us. I feel like that is, it's short-sighted.
Well, we're going to find out. Again, it's interesting. I appreciate you coming on. I know a lot of people want to get you on, and there's a lot of chaos out there and craziness. Kate, do you have any more questions for her?
No, I think that wraps it up. If I had one more question, Representative Behn, I would ask. You said that earlier in the interview that only about 10 people actually violated any traffic laws during these during this operation. Do you have documentation of that? How do we find that out?
Yeah, so WSMV just posted, and I think this may have been a THP Highway Patrol press release that went out, but they said that the operation resulted in 369 stops for observed traffic violations, 2 DUI arrests, 1 child endangerment arrest, 1 felony evading arrest, 2 drug arrests, 4 felony wanted persons. Okay, I'm sorry, but out of 369, that's, less than 10. But here's the big problem. During the operation, ICE detained 94 individuals for further investigation and transport. What? I'm sorry, Highway Patrol cited at least 10, and then ICE took 94 of those people over. That's collusion. That is not. I'm horrified to see those numbers. So yeah, I think those are public at this moment in time.
All right, thank you, Representative Behn.
Afton, as always, appreciate you coming on today, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much.
Thanks. Afton Bane right there. We got some comments. Some of you are very happy about that. Not really. Why didn't you yell at her? Matt's here. We should have him come and yell at her. It is Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Bulwark Capital wants to give you a chance to figure out what to do in this time of chaos and craziness with your investments. And let me tell you something about Bulwark. They invest all over the globe, which is amazing. And they're doing a big webinar. It's 5:30 our time. It is the 22nd of this month. And it's where they show you what it is that they do. And let me tell you something. They make money going up and going down, meaning they're short sometimes, which means they think the markets or a stock in and itself may go down. They also invest globally. They look at stuff that's just so much different than everybody else out there. If you're worried about where things may be going, tariffs, how they may affect you, why don't you do this? Sign up. It's free. It's Bulwark Capital. You go to knowyourriskradio.com. It is 5:30 Pacific on the 22nd of this month. Not going to take anything but more than 45 minutes. They're going to give you a lowdown of what they do and everything else, and you can get a free risk review on your entire portfolio. So check them out now at knowyourriskradio.com, KNOW, yourriskradio.com. Investment advisory service offered through Trek Financial LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Investment involved risk, not a guarantee. Past performance, not guarantee future results. Trek 25206. The Wellness Institute of Nashville. I would have got to it sooner, but the guy that works with me is my producer. He never put anything on the thing. Wellness Institute of Nashville has for you the opportunity to get the big 47 going. That's 47% off non-surgical spinal decompression, and it is awesome. Say your back hurts, right? And my back hurts every once in a great while because I play a lot of golf and soccer and still run around a bit. And you go see Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley. They're going to help take care of you. They're going to build you a plan that's going to get your back up and moving, right? And there's no creams, there's no special voodoo. It's technology and their amazing skill. and they're incredible. So you get 47% off right now. They build your plan. You go in, you get a full consultation, x-rays included. Bring your MRI if you have one. If you're thinking to yourself, man, the summer's going to be nice, right? Spring's here. I want to be out. I want to be doing things. I want to hit golf balls. I want to not feel like I'm as old as maybe I am. Let the Wellness Institute of Nashville help you get back on your back, if you will. Call 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, or painisbad.com.
No Pope yet. We've got a verdict in the state trial of 3 former Memphis police officers in the death of Tyree Nichols, and new developments in what the Highway Patrol says is a public safety operation ongoing illegal immigration enforcement in Nashville. Coming up at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's interesting. What'd you think of that, Ken, the interview there?
I mean, it was an interview. There, were some things that she said, which I followed up on that I think we needed some documentation on. But it was good to hear that side of this story.
Yeah, because she's like, because I went and looked up, because the THP does have certain agreements, but the one that she mentioned, the 287G, no, they don't have that. In certain counties they do. It's really weird. And, Governor Lee's going to take care of all that, and the federal government's going to take care of all that. Do I understand why people are pissed? Yeah. Do I understand why people are worried, about what's going on? And let me tell you something. I don't think the last thing we want is a police state, right? Like, that's what everybody says. But it's funny because if it was Biden doing all these things, people would be angry. I mean, I was angry several years ago when they were selling more, like it seemed to be military equipment to law enforcement. So we've got to figure this out, but it isn't going to be sorted out now at any time, because a vast majority of this has to be done through Congress. And that's, at the end of the day, that's where the big issue is come. And pitting, federal versus state and state versus cities and all that, a vast majority of this is going to be through Congress, that the real deal gets done. And it's not getting done anytime soon. And between what Ken and I find out today and what we find out tomorrow, in 6 weeks from now, when some of this stuff fades away, and then when real stuff pops up, who knows what the final number looks like, who was a citizen or not a citizen, who was really part of Tren de Agua and not, because you never talk about that. We never hear about those things. And that's the thing that's frustrating. It was a couple weeks ago. Remember when they did that big arrest? Was it New Jersey or Maryland? They got the biggest Tren de Agua guy and all of this stuff. And they had all the... come to find out last week, they quietly released him. No, he's not part of Tren de Agua. We got it wrong. Sorry. You won't hear about that. And if the guy's the biggest serial killer in the world and they find him, we deported him, the left media would never, ever talk about that, because it would look like they did something right. So welcome to the world of information battle. And that's the sad thing, that you have to piece everything together. And when stuff is fluid and you get bits here, bits there, you have some people that are saying, oh, it's all the worst people in the world, and we should get rid of everybody. And then other people going, oh, no, these are all the innocent people. And then their group is like, well, here's some of the information. I don't know what's real, what's not. And what I've noticed about being in this industry a long time, one thing I do know is a vast majority of people only want to hear their side, and they want their affirmation. They do not want information. That is something that they want no part of. Exactly. It's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
.2:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Roadwork blocking the left lane, 840 eastbound at I-65 there in Franklin. That is an ongoing issue for you drivers this afternoon. Also, still got a crash report at 40 eastbound at Briley Parkway over by the airport. Full forecast in 5 minutes. No Pope yet. Details in a moment. But first, a verdict is in for 3 former Memphis police officers on trial in the death of Tyree Nichols. All 3 have been acquitted of state charges, including second-degree murder. Tadarius Behn, Demetrius Haley, Justin Smith, visibly emotional after the not guilty verdict, hugging their lawyers as relatives cried. Here in Tennessee, new developments in what the Highway Patrol says is a public safety operation involving traffic stops for alleged moving violations that involves ICE agents for any undocumented individuals. 369 traffic stops so far, with at least 80 people detained whom ICE says are undocumented individuals. Meanwhile, Metro Legal has emailed audio of a federal agent requesting Metro Police patrol the federal Homeland Security facility where undocumented people were held on Sunday. He wanted that as a precaution.
They are doing operations throughout the weekend, and they're concerned of the families having some backlash on Sunday.
Well, Metro Legal says this proves that Metro Police did not take part in detainments, just provided that extra patrol. And Metro Legal says there's going to be a specially called emergency council meeting today at 4. And right now at the Vatican, Patrick Reevell.
There's black smoke. We can see black smoke coming from the chimneys. You heard the cheer from the crowd there. That means that there is no pope chosen in this first round. That is what was expected.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Raycon. Go to buyraycon.com/chat. Father's Day not too far away. Opportunity for you to get Dad the best of the best when it comes to earbuds, headphones, all these great things. The quality of these is second to none. The fit is second to none. The everyday earbuds are incredible. And I want you to grab a pair of these. You can save 15% right now. You have 30-day happiness guarantee. And all you got to do is go to buyraycon.com/chat. You're going to absolutely love these things. They are amazing. Fit, feel, comfort, all of this stuff. But they got tons of other stuff at Raycon as well. Take advantage of this. Get Dad something he wants, something he's going to love with the best earbuds around. 8 hours talk time, 32 hours of battery life, active noise cancellation. You name it, they've got it. It is the best earbuds and the best audio top to bottom. Go to buyraycon.com/chat now. Buyraycon.com/chat. All right. Bell, do we have tickets to give away?
Yes.
Metallica?
Heretic? No.
Okay.
It's a little close, but not quite Metallica. It's to see Amy Grant at the Ryman.
Amy Grant at the Ryman. There you go. So, caller 10 to what number?
615-737-9986. 615-737-9986.
You're on your way to see her live at the Ryman. Anybody else going to perform with her? It's just her.
Maybe Vince will probably be there.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sure
think
Vince
so?
will show up.
That'll be awesome. Hope she sings her hits. Your chance to win coming up.
It's Christmas in May.
It's Christmas in May. This is my favorite one. Are you ready for this from Larry, too? Are you ready? I think you'd like this one here, too, Ken. You suck butt. Tweets butt butter. You and MM are both fakes. So there's that. Oh, my Lord. That is hilarious. Some of your angle. You weren't mean to her. You pushed back. I asked her questions. She gave me the answers. And let me tell you something. Her answers probably aren't going to be right. The answers we have right now probably aren't going to be right. And will we ever know the entire situation? No. Why didn't you ask about gangsters? Well, there was one. Do we know he's a gangster? I don't know if he's a gangster. Maybe. There may be 10 gangsters, right? Because we could, everybody talks about Trende, but there's Barrio. There's 18th Street. What if there were some of those? We have no idea because we don't talk about Trende. That's all we talk about. So is it possible there could be 100 more gangsters? It's always possible there could have been. All of these people could be gangsters. So I don't know what it is. And that's the frustrating part. We want immediacy with answers. We want an immediate fix. You're not going to get it. You're not. And yeah, I'm pissed. I've been pissed off. I remember when I was doing my Nashville show and stuff in Arizona when I saw the second debate when Biden came out and said, within the first 100 days, I'm going to give people a pathway to citizenship. And I looked at my buddy, who's a big talk show host, and I said, that's the reason I could never vote for him. Right there. Ever. That right there. That is it. Is the number one reason. Everything, because you never knew, he was a corporatist, the corporations ran the government as much as anything. The frustration level, I get it. But what we want is this thing done right. And here's the thing, what we're going to get. Everything's going to be down to the courts, whether you like it or not. You hate the fact that people have due process. I get that. But that's the difference between us and other places. We have that. And due process is broken up in several different ways. Matt and I talked about it yesterday. If you're here completely illegally, you have not applied for the asylum process. You have been waiting for yourself to eventually maybe hope that there's a pathway without having, but then you get picked up. Well, you're SOL, as the kids would say. You're done. You're gone. Bye-bye. If you are in the asylum process, you're going to get a little bit more leeway. If you're a gangster, damn Skippy, you should go. We talk about all of those things. But let's be honest about it. Being angry, and this is what I said earlier, everybody wants this affirmation. I'm not going to give you affirmation. I'm going to give you the information. I'm going to let you listen, and you decide. That's it. Because you, and many of you right now, you've already got your mind made up. Get rid of everybody, throw everybody out here. You realize that's not going to happen, and that may piss you off, but that's reality. Even Trump has said, well, we got to figure out a way to get some of these people who have been here for a while. Maybe there's something that we can do for some of these people. I didn't hear anybody freaking out about that. If I say it, but oh my God, no. Because as we talked about yesterday, we don't have the manpower. We don't. We have 5,500 to 6,000 ICE officers for 18, 20, 23 million people. Who knows? Not 11, I'll tell you that right now, because I can guarantee you we had 11 come in over the last 4 years. We didn't have 11 go out. And that 11 has been tossed around for a very long time. I've always been one of these things where I want to find solutions to problems. Everybody else wants to scream about problems. That doesn't fix the problem. And I want to find it, and I want to give people their voice, left, right, center. I don't care. Somebody said earlier, would you interview Putin? Yeah, from afar I would. I don't want to be in the same room with him. I think we can all agree that's probably not a good thing.
What if he walked in with an umbrella?
Yeah. And so a cup of tea, and he wanted me to stand next to a window? Yeah, I'm going to go with a hard no on that. So let's find solutions. That's it. Let's find solutions. No matter what the left says, you are always going to be pissed. And for the left, no matter what the right says, you're always going to be pissed. The rest of us, the exhausted majority, the 80% of us who don't live in the extremes, you know what? We want sensible, smart, strong borders where people have an opportunity to come here. We recognize that. The rest of us want a real opportunity for the middle class to grow. I mean, we could sit here and talk about stuff that we want that should be happening, but unfortunately, the extremes, they dominate. They dominate way too much. And that should piss us all off, but that's the noise, right? Like, that's the noise out there that is out there. Like, here's a perfect example. We talked about some of the crazy stuff that's been said over the last couple of days. You guys know who the Hodge twins are? They're a big MAGA group, right? And I can guarantee you, I'm going to play something from them. They had Nick Fuentes on yesterday, and I'd like to talk to Nick. You guys know who Nick Fuentes is? And here's a group of people that are, I mean, these guys have kind of what the hell's going on with some of these people? But here's the insanity of which people are screaming in the extremisms that's dominating stuff.
You invite Nick Fuentes on your show. Makes you feel like a dumb. Hey, man.
So that's why people don't want to interview you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, what do people have to gain from interviewing me? I mean, you get canceled.
I'm about ready to just give up now.
Yeah.
Why even try to solve making sense now? You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
How corrupt our government is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We actually are the United States of Israel. We're funding everything for them. We fund
cut
everything.
this out. But Hitler was right.
Hitler was right. And it's funny because some of you are texting going, I love the Hodge twins. Others are going, I can't stand them. They've been very racist lately.
Well, and do they not understand that Hitler would have had them in a camp?
Yeah, yeah.
They wouldn't have been considered part of the master race.
No. I mean, but there's the extremism to get the noise. And that's what people apparently want nowadays. And somebody said they're going to trade my balls for Immigrant tickets.
What?
I don't know. Yeah, it's, again, the angriness that people have.
Everybody just take a Valium and calm down.
But they can't. See, here's the thing, Bill. They don't know how because they're living in a world where the algorithms have controlled everything. They're spun and they're angry. They want to react first before they know what the final thing is.
You know what I'm going to do today?
What?
I'm going to go home and I'm going to watch MASH reruns, and I'm not going to care about any of this.
Here's a perfect example. They are not wrong, says somebody about the Hodge twins and Hitler.
Fine. Just please let me know if you're going to be around so I can avoid you.
So that is funny. They're not wrong.
Hitler
really.
was a mass murderer.
Nah, but that's okay, though, because he was killing the right kind of. Again,
sure.
It's always, as long as it's the other team that they're killing. You know, we are controlled by the Jews.
Oh, you don't have blonde hair and blue eyes. Just walk into this chamber for me real quick.
No doubt. They're just taking a shower. That's it.
One last shower.
One last shower. We have no Pope, by the way, for those of you keeping score. So that's it. There's only one vote today. Did you see all the people that stand around there waiting for the...
Well, you're talking about in the plaza.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not only that, they've got, you can count probably, I saw 4 or 5 different camera setups of news people out there in the crowd filming it as they were discussing
it looks like, it's like a Super Bowl, because every big news, I mean, Fox is there, CNN's there, MSNBC's there, at BBC's. Every place from around the globe is converged on to the plaza to wait for the smoke. But the smoke came quick, but I thought it would. Now they're done for the night.
I don't think, to my recollection, at least in my lifetime, I don't think there's ever been a pope that was confirmed or elected on the first ballot.
No, I can't remember. I can't remember at all. When, what did it take last time besides the goof up? Because the goof up didn't go well. For those of you guys who don't know, they pour a special liquid onto the paper when they burn, and it didn't work well, and it came out gray. So it's black or white. It came out gray. And like everything in life, it's a little gray. So I don't know how long this will take. I have a feeling it's coming soon.
I think I don't remember specifically, but for some reason I want to say there were like 6 votes.
Oh, I'm an asswipe. Did you know that?
Yeah, of course I did.
Of course.
You told me that the day we met.
So, well, of course I did. It's just it's what it is. It's what it is. This is the stuff, again, the anger that people have. Why? Why am I those things?
You're not telling me what I want to hear.
Exactly. And that's what people want. And we won't do that. We're sorry. We're sorry we won't do that. But we will give you when animals attack other animals or people. And so far today, our good friend Ken Weaver, the king of news, that's what I call him, King Ken, has reported a alligator attack and a stabbing violently by a Trente buffalo. That
buffalo was a member of MS-13.
Buffalo 13. So, and that person got too close to the buffalo. You don't do that. Don't get close to animals that may kill you because you want a selfie. Tell you that every single day. And we'll continue to tell you that, and you'll continue to do stuff. And by the way, if you've been attacked by a buffalo because you got too close and you're alive, we'd love to talk to you about it.
But we can't guarantee we won't laugh at you for being stupid.
No, and you should want that from all of us. Because if I get attacked by a buffalo, I'm good with you laughing at me. Unless, of course, I'm sitting in my house and the buffalo comes in, because there's not a lot you can do about that, right? Coming up, we'll wrap it up. Matt Murphy, who was also mentioned to this. Somebody called us. Are you ready for this? I don't think you heard this one. We are butt munch, Matt Murphy and I. That's what we are.
Butt munches?
Yeah, that's what they are. Yeah.
Well, hey, the 80s called. They want their insults back.
They did. It's phenomenal. The last pope got 3. So we'll see. The Plaza, St. Peter's. Is it St. Peter's is where it is? I don't know if they're in St. Peter's or are they outside of there. I can't tell.
Like in an adjoining building or something?
Yeah. Well, no. The people. I didn't know if they were allowed to be that close.
Well, they're in the plaza.
They are in the plaza. Yeah, I didn't know if it was outside.
Because that whole area, like if the Pope gives a mass,
yeah, that's where he gives that'll
be filled up.
But I didn't know if they kept the people further away
I don't
during
think so,
this
but I'm not
portion.
100% sure.
Because I'm not Catholic and because I just look for the smoke. That's all I'm looking for. It's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7. Lactose. Look at this. Matt Murphy's here.
That's what I was told.
You were called a butt munch earlier.
Oh, was I?
Yeah.
Fact check, true.
Yeah.
I've munched a butt.
We're all kinds of. We're both.
Hey, nobody can get mad though because I said that to your face one time.
What?
So saying it behind your back doesn't count.
Why did Bell call me a butt munch this
He
time?
didn't actually. He didn't.
Why are we butt munches?
Oh, because
are you a butt munch too?
Yeah. Oh, I'm all the things. All the words. I'm all the things.
You're all the.
I'm all the hate.
You're all the butt munches.
Tell Cameron he's not.
He's
the most
all the
hated
bad
anymore.
words.
Why are we butt munches?
Because we're fake Fox News.
We're fake Fox News?
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, just keep listening. Call an advertiser. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all we need.
I get
Love me, hate me, I don't know.
I'd munch on a big old pork butt.
Oh, that's what I was talking about, Ken. I've munched a butt every now and again.
There you go. I'm hungry too.
I'd eat chunks off of it like an apple.
Look at you.
Holy moly.
So
before it's even on the pit.
Yes, sir.
While it's still alive. Squealing.
While it's still alive. That's how we got it. I bit him in
Let's
half.
go. There's a bagel in there.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm not a bagel guy.
You're not a bagel guy?
No.
I would have lost a bet. I would have lost a bet.
And
that's
you
why
wanna
you
know
don't
why?
you don't
'Cause,
want to
like,
assume
you
because
know,
you make an ass out of you and me.
Yeah, there you go. But
I would have thought
because I'm part Jewish, people probably assumed that I eat bagels.
I thought Benson was a bagel, but I would have sworn it.
No, I'm not. I like donuts, or as I call them, the Protestant bagels.
I say this on occasion, and people think that I'm not really Southern.
Really?
But I do, and I am. I'm not a biscuit guy.
No,
I'm a toast guy.
I'm not.
You are allowed to have both.
You know,
I'm
biscuits,
not a biscuit guy,
biscuits are hit and miss.
Yeah,
I like them light and fluffy if I'm going to have a biscuit.
What I'm saying, Belle, is if you have to pick, you've got. I'm telling you, you can only have one. You've got to have toast or a biscuit. I'm going to go toast every time.
Yeah, so if I'm ever buying something from Waffle House, I need to make sure I'm getting you toast. And
Waffle House. Part of my soul died the day that Waffle House started making biscuits, and they don't even have ovens.
That's true.
They do biscuits now.
Yeah,
stupid.
Yeah, I'm a toast guy. Toast. I have toast every morning. That's the only thing. I again, biscuits are hit and miss.
I have done this show in the past, and one of these days when Donald Trump's no longer president, because you can't do this with Donald Trump president because there's too much news. But one of these days I'll do the show again. I maintain that no one, and I mean you, all of you listening to me right now, nobody likes grits. Nobody.
Grits are awesome.
Nobody likes grits.
I don't like grits.
You know what you like? You like butter is what you like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if the other day we were out to dinner and there was this broccoli that they ordered. It was not broccoli. It's a bunch of crap that tastes really good on top of broccoli.
Now, I like broccoli.
So,
but I get it.
Yeah.
Cheese or whatever.
Yeah, it's like if you put enough of the yum stuff on something, you can.
I maintain nobody likes grits. They like butter. They like, I love my grits. Let me tell you how I make my grits. I put a little gravy on there. Oh, do you now? Do you like gravy? You like gravy, don't you? Like, nobody likes grits. You ate grits because you were poor and it was cheap.
I crock-potted some mixed vegetables, talking about broccoli, carrots, and cauliflower. I crock-potted it with a big old block of cream cheese, a handful of Monterey Jack, and a handful of cheddar.
And?
I ate it all.
Yeah. Really, what you did is you put 3 giant blocks of something in there you really wanted to eat.
And healthy.
Because I really like the taste of broccoli.
Yeah, because he loves the... Ken Weaver keeping it healthy.
Ken's all, you know what? If only I couldn't just bite into this giant piece of butter because people will think I'm weird. So if I melt it down with other things so my cholesterol can be nice and low, this is what happens.
Reminds me of, there's an episode of The Simpsons. It's called, I think it was Homer's Best Day, where he doesn't have to go to church. And so he makes himself a waffle, and he takes the waffle and he puts a stick of butter in the waffle and rolls it up like a burrito. And he sits down in front of the TV and he turns on the television and there's a church service on TV and he goes, oh. And then somebody says, we interrupt this church service to bring you early morning football. And he's like, woo!
Exactly.
That's perfect.
Look at that. So you don't like grits and you like the fact that nobody goes to church.
It's not.
And you like the fact that people go and beat your kids. Come on, Matt Murphy.
It's not that I don't like grits. I maintain that nobody in human existence likes grits.
No, I don't like grits. They're just, I've tried them several times and that was several times too many.
It's intestines, isn't it?
It's whatever it is. It's a bet. It's a bet.
It's a bet.
Just like haggis was a bet. Just
right,
like Jimmy,
betting
you
a
like it.
bison.
I mean, I'll eat something on a bet. I won't. I don't think I'd eat an eyeball. Would you eat an eyeball?
Human?
Well, of course, human. I'm talking about animal eyeball. No, I don't think I'd eat an eyeball.
On a bet for money?
It'd have to be a lot of money.
Yeah, I was going to say. What are you talking about today?
Especially if you've got to squish into it.
What are you going to talk about today?
All the popes.
All the popes.
I'm talking about all the popes today.
Pope Innocent was not.
We're going pope by pope, people.
Oh, my Lord.
Because the media's obsessed with it. The media that couldn't give a damn about religion, they're obsessed about it, so I'm going to obsess about it too. We're going pope by pope. You're going to sit here for all of it.
Boniface, Innocent, all of them next. Live Pope coverage. WTN.